You're listening to HBCU Pulse Radio. You're now locked in to HBCU Pulse. We're the #1 outlet for HBCU life, talking about everything that's important to our culture, from on-campus issues to politics and what's trending on the yard. We always keep that same energy. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.
What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio in the building. Man, it is going down on Twitter right now. We are about to have a SIAC space, and I'm going to have it streaming here on Twitter. I went to the Fort Valley State University, and I also went to the Fort Valley Savannah State game. Have a lot to talk about with that one. So I'm going to be on this stream. So make sure to stay tuned to it. And we're going to go on and get the ball rolling. All right. So let me go on and cue things up so we can make it happen. And I want to say real quick, shout out to D2 HBCU football guy. All right. Shout out to him because he's hosting this space. I'm about to jump in and I want to make sure everything was good as far as the stream. So if you're watching this and you're listening live, or, you're listening, a little bit later, make sure to stay tapped in. Man, the SIAC is important and we got something to say. So this is something that's important because there's a whole bunch of Twitter spaces that are going on about D1 football, but not about D2. So we're trying to go in and get that going. I got new windows as well. So this, like, one thing about windows is that windows are going to go slow. So I'm about to go on and get it going, and we're about to go on and hop in and make it happen. And I want to say, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. You're going to hear a lot more context on this, that we were robbed. Fort Valley State University was robbed. And I want to just say that for a fact, but we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it with Savannah State lit, though. Shout out to Savannah State.
Up for that game. To spoil our homecomings 3 times. Like the last 3 times we've had, the last 2 times we've had them for homecoming. They got us, man. So this is the 3rd time. So hopefully 3rd time the charm for us.
Okay, I see we got HBCU posts in here.
Let me send this. I don't know. Well, anyway, if anybody, want to hop on, whatever, hit the request button, and I guess we'll jump into it. Man, who you want to talk about first?
Now let's take a look at the scores.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's pull that up. So, of course, Thursday night, you had Edward Waters and Miles. Edward Waters, 22-16. That was a game that Miles actually fought back in. We got
I'm looking at the wrong week. I think honestly, man, let's talk about this Fort Valley Savannah State. I think that's I didn't have Savannah State winning that game. Thought Fort Valley could have pulled that one off.
I look back over the game that when I look back over the stat sheet and some of the drive charts with them in Albany State, and I saw like this little pattern that Savannah was. I said, you go back and you look at that game after talking to a couple of the Savannah State coaches, and they felt they got robbed. And I started looking, I'm saying, now, if Albany State struggled at first running the ball, I think for the offensive line speaking, outside of Benedict, because Benedict offensive line is just a whole nother monster. I think
Right.
Albany State is for a close second. And I said, they might start giving Fort Valley a little problem. So when I did my little predictions on Saturday, I was just like, I'm just not sure. It just depends on which Savannah show up. And
Right.
it looked like the Savannah that
Well, hold up. Wait a minute. Got a Fort Valley alum in here. It's me. And we were robbed. We were definitely robbed. Where I was at the game, it didn't stream. I tried to get it streaming. I tried to have the nation see it. We were robbed. The referees, I don't know what they were on. Savannah State is amazing. Love them. Love the quarterback. But we should have won that game, and we did.
Let's go with the crying. Here we go with the crying.
No, one thing about me is that I'm going to keep it 100 about sports. As anybody knows me about sports, but it was a game-winning touchdown that the referees waved off. And it was so weird. Now, granted, Fort Valley deserved to lose that game. As a Fort Valley alum, I'll say that. Because on the first drive, why you go for it on fourth down instead of getting the points? Because if you get the points, it's 28-27, and you drive down to get a field goal at the end of the game if nothing changes. So Fort Valley deserved to lose that because you made a stupid decision. But at the same time, we won the game. They messed up a legendary moment.
So when I looked at the score in the third quarter, I'm like, okay, I think when y'all went up 17-7 on them.
17-7, yep.
And I said, okay, well, I'll be wrong about that. And that's why I took it. Then I messed around and looked, man, 21 points in the fourth quarter.
It was penalties. It was penalties, and the quarterback, he is like that. I got to get his name because I keep forgetting it. But I tweeted about him after the game. He is like that. He was picking the defense apart with his legs. Like, they kept trying to drop back and defend the pass. Like, when they were in man coverage, he would find them. And then when he had a lane to run, he would take that. And he had a crazy run in the first quarter where he ran it in like 50, 60 yards for a touchdown, and no one could catch him. Like, that's really the MVP. Like, that's really why the 21 points went up on the board, honestly.
So, which quarterback played the fourth quarter? Let me pull up this drive chart. Because it seems like they played two on the depth.
The brother I'm talking about, I think his last name is Adams.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, I'm looking at the drives now, just going through them right quick. Oh man,
he went in.
Yeah. So did they no huddle the whole game, or was this just like they went tempo in the fourth?
For Savannah State, they were running quick tempo, and I honestly felt like Fort Valley wasn't able to stop it. Because I think another thing too is that Fort Valley wasn't prepared to stop the quarterback. I didn't see them spy him. They didn't really try to contain him, and especially when they did try to get him on the edge when he was outside run, he just blew past him. He just blew past him, and then he would just get wherever he wanted to go. And on the offensive side, the big thing is that Fort Valley, like, our guy is Emmanuel Wilson. Like, he is like that. He's the best running back in the SIAC, right next to North Zaire Scotland at Benedict. Those two, they tie for number one to me. So he's the number one guy, and there's not really a passing game to look at. You're going to key in on him. So all they did was stuff the middle. That first quarter, he didn't do anything. Now, he's a great player, so he was able to find his way to make it happen, in the third quarter. But they stopped him successfully. Like, the game should have been way crazier than what it was, but they stopped him. You know what I mean? So I feel like, the game was sloppy. Savannah State had more penalties, but at the same time, it's like we did let that game get away from us. And I gotta say this, man, you good, man. How you do these predictions, man? How do you know?
Man, I'm really into drive charts. Because sometimes you can just get into like the mindset and what's kind of working, and you start to see certain patterns in the drive chart for these teams, and you go back and you look at everything you can't see from the drive chart, but if you take the drive chart and you go back and you watch a game, you start to see like the process of things. Like, it may be a pass that the quarterback overthrew, but I'm looking at it, the process, like, oh, he was open, that'll hit next time. So you know, like that Savannah State, it was just like they were right there. You know, they were right there with Albany State. And I said, you know, that Adams guy, he's a true freshman for them. Um, and he has been racking up yards. Like he has 94 rushing attempts, and he has 449 yards. So, bro, be scat. So I see why that y'all had a problem with him on the edge. Probably what gets him in trouble is he had 7 touchdowns passing, but he also had 6 interceptions. So that's
And you know the thing is that Fort Valley forced 2 interceptions from him. You know that was one thing too. Like I think that it was certain points he was trying to force feed his receivers when he didn't really need to. But one thing about him is that he can make plays, and I think that with him being a true freshman, I honestly believe that he's going to really bring back Savannah State and make them a contender once again. Like they just got to get weapons for him. Like he is that guy. And like they just have to figure it
Hello.
out because it's gonna be Savannah State, Fort Valley, and Albany again, and Benedict.
absolutely. Um, man, that's just one. I really hate that because I really
Hello.
wanted y'all. Yes, we can hear you. What's going on? Okay, so I don't know if there's somebody trolling or not.
I think it
But
is. That's why I muted everybody.
yeah,
But listen, let me go ahead and spotlight Benedict's running back. Me being at the game Saturday, DeAndre Duhart. He's a guy, man. He's a talent. I mean, he definitely helped light up that scoreboard Saturday. He had a 55-yard run. He had a 76-yard run. So I mean, Scotland didn't play none Saturday, but it was all him, man. And honestly, like I say, Benedict got a cast of athletes, man, that can really play. They talented, man, very talented. Let me unmute.
y'all have Allen this week.
Yeah, we have Allen University, which
Okay,
I can't speak as if I'm a Benedict person, but obviously that's the team I root for. But Benedict has Allen this week. It should be I feel like that should be the Palmetto Classic. I don't think that they had a Palmetto City Classic no more, but I feel like that should be the Palmetto Classic.
I honestly hope for the best for Allen because Allen has had a really great season, but it just isn't reflected in the wins. Like they're gonna be scary, like when they get a recruiting class and they really start to figure it out. I really wish for the best for them, and I want Benedict to win, but I want Allen to scare y'all a little bit because Allen needs to show, hey, we're here because they're really a good team and a well coached team.
The thing about Benedict though, Benedict has depth, and it's crazy because like when you look at the receiving core, when you look at the tight ends, when you look at the offensive line, you look at the defensive line, like they have depth in all of those positions. Again, this Benedict has talent that Benedict has never had. And I'm telling you because I know. I was sitting in the stands with a couple of my teammates from when I played, man. And, we was talking about the offensive line back when I played compared to the guys that they have now. And, man, it's different, man. That O-line they got is different.
Yeah, and it honestly helps the run game because I see Benedict as a run first team, but it's just like it's just Coach Derry and just like I feel like all the players are bought in, and that's like the part that I really love about it, and that really makes me root for Benedict because they beat us, you know what I'm saying? They beat us down, you know what I mean? Like, but I really want to see Benedict like really go and make it happen, have an undefeated season, make history for like for your football program. Go and play Tuskegee because Tuskegee's up next. I'm ready for that one. I don't know if we're gonna talk about it this time around, but
Allen
I'm ready for it.
University up next. We're going 1-0. We're not
All right,
worried about
yeah,
Tuskegee. We're
that's
worried
true.
about Allen University.
That's true. You're right. You're right. 1-0. 1-0.
Hey, Coach, this is Ted, and hey, D2, thanks for having us on here. I just was going to say congratulations to your Tigers, Coach, for doing what they're doing and going for that undefeated season. Well, I don't know. Most of my history knowing about HBCU, I know a little bit and covered a little bit of the MEAC back in the day, but I don't know much about the SIAC. Has Benedict College ever been undefeated before all the way through the season?
Never. This is a first.
Oh, my God, that's incredible.
And they've always had teams that contended and scared the contenders in Benedict and Albany before Savannah State came back. But this year has been a whole new level, honestly.
I think when we talk about pedigree, I think Coach Berry coaching pedigree, and with him being the offensive line guy, I think that is one of the biggest reasons why they're having the success they are up front. Because like I say, man, honestly, it don't matter. I know you said that it's another running back that was behind Scotland, but I can argue that our running back who just ran for Saturday is the second best running back in the SIAC just because of what he did against Clark Atlanta. But again, like I say, man, Benedict got a cast of athletes, man, in every position.
The only thing I'll say is that Clark Atlanta, I love Coach Slater. He's a SIAC legend. They're a little bit, they're a little bit, compromised right now, and he has to get his team back up. But I do see that running back room is deep for Benedict. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's dangerous because that Savannah State game, they played a bunch of running backs, and all of them contributed. And I feel like that's what helped them get to the win. Although Savannah State did play them pretty tough, and the box score doesn't tell the full story. You watched the game on ESPN. I think it was on ESPNU that day. And it was a really good defensive battle, especially in the first half. Like, I think, like, when you say that Benedict's deep, they are. And I feel like that's the story of the season. But 1-0, like you said, taking it 1 week at a time, and also how the team is built.
When it comes down to Clark, they're so undersized. Stopping the run is going to be something that I just don't see Clark being able to do right now. Coach Slater got there late. Type of guys Coach Slater is going to go after, and try to get that defensive line where it needs to be. Because I think they've kind of found a rhythm offensively. One of the things I was looking at was, could Clark score? Because kind of that offense that Clark is running, there's some similarities to some of the stuff that we do, kind of. And so I was kind of hoping that Clark could move the ball. And they were proving that what was ironic to me was that for the few, couple of drives that I watched, Clark was able to run up the middle slightly against Benedict. And I circled that.
Yeah, they had a couple nice runs. I'm gonna say that their quarterback scrambled. He was moving, or he was helping them move the rock, scrambling wise. Honestly though, that first score they got Saturday, the punter, if the ball went over his head, he should have just kicked it in the back of the end zone. And now I'm talking as a fan. He should have just kicked it in the back of the end zone, and give Clark Atlanta the 2 points. But I mean, obviously, that's a coaching thing, and that's something the kid got to grow on the kid, for them to get that. But like I say, man, they put together a drive, but at that point in the game, Benedict had started rotating, and I started noticing different guys was getting in, rotating in positions. But yeah, that quarterback they got over there at Clark Atlanta, man, he's definitely a dual threat guy. He'll probably be if he's not a senior, and obviously I need to look that up, but next year he'll probably be one of the top dual threat quarterbacks in the conference.
So let me ask you all this, because I didn't get a chance to to fully watch the game because I was trying because I was at the Battle of the Bands at the Macon Classic because I went to the game and I was watching Tuskegee, Kentucky State, but also I was trying to see what was going on in D1. So I didn't get a chance to fully watch the League Pass game. It was on HBC League Pass Plus, Benedict versus Clark Atlanta. Like, based on what y'all saw this weekend, who y'all think is going to win with Morehouse and Clark Atlanta? That's a rivalry game this weekend. You think Morehouse is going to pull it out?
Clark Atlanta going to beat the brakes off of them.
Oh.
I like Clark Atlanta by 21, and I'm saying this early just because I watched that Morehouse game, Morehouse versus Benedict, I like Clark Atlanta, especially if they do what they did against Benedict. Run the vertical routes and how they get everybody running, get them DBs and everybody out of the box and let that quarterback run around. I feel like they can beat them by 21.
21? 21.
Man, listen, I'm going to be honest. Listen to me. I'm going to be honest. Morehouse ain't a good team this year. I think they don't have it this year.
I feel it.
They just don't have it this year. They got to get back. They got to go back and recruit. They got to get in the trenches of Georgia. Maybe come down here to Florida, find some of these little smart kids and get them up there and playing. But they just not a good team this year, man. And normally they very competitive in the conference. Normally they one of those sleepers where you'll play them on a week you think you're going to come in there and blow them out. And they'll hand you that L. They really Morehouse this year reminds me of the Benedict team I played on my junior year. But we had talent, but it was a huge rebuild season. I don't like for them to win a game this season.
Coach, you got to get them some of them bloodhounds.
They need something.
Yeah, they need to come down here and recruit. Come down here to Central Florida and get some of these guys, man. We got some dudes in Polk County. But like I say, man, they got a lot to do at Morehouse, man. But it's gonna start with recruitment.
The thing that sort of puzzles me is that Morehouse is in Atlanta, and it's Morehouse. So like you would assume with all of the talent that is in not only Atlanta but Middle Georgia, you have South Georgia, and also Florida, that they would be able to consistently have some level of talent, no matter who's coaching, no matter how the team looks, because it's in Atlanta, it's Morehouse. You know what I'm saying?
But doesn't Morehouse have really high? I mean, some of their academic, I've heard their academic standards are tough. I mean, you can't just walk into Morehouse and say, I want to play football and I'm smart. You've got to do it the other way around.
That makes sense. You're right. And that's the same thing you hear about a lot of the schools like Georgia Tech. You hear the same things. That makes sense.
Yeah, Morehouse academic standards alone is tough. So if you take their academic standards and then you put it against the fact that most of the football players may not meet those academic standards, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with Morehouse. If you can't do the work, they ain't gonna take you. My thing is, I feel that Morehouse should block out 10 to 12 slots for kids who struggle in high school but still graduate. They might not be a 3.0 kid, but you should be able to take a 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 kid, especially by you standing on that we are empowering black men. Get them kids in school and wrap all the services around them so those kids can be successful. You know what I mean? It's bad with Morehouse due to, like my man said, they dead smack in the middle of Atlanta. There's no reason. It's too many high schools within a 60-mile radius where they can't be competitive year in and year out. Now the freshman quarterback that they got, the true freshman, he's gonna be okay. But they got to get him some help around him. They lost their starting running back 2 games. He got hurt against Howard. The kid who they thought was going to start at quarterback for him decided he wasn't going to play football a week before the season. So they kind of thrust that freshman quarterback out there. They tried a JUCO kid, and the kid ain't bad, but and this, I ain't trying to down talk the West Coast, but he's a West Coast kid. Those kids fail to realize when you come from the West Coast, these kids in the South something totally different. That goes from North Carolina down.
Let me jump back in on this real quick.
Go ahead,
I think
Coach.
that like with Morehouse, any of those kids could quit any day and say, "Hey man, I'm finna go be a lawyer, man. I'm gonna go be a doctor."
Yeah.
I just can't. I came here, football was an interest, but I'm thinking about going to, go do surgery on somebody. So I think that again, unless they can find, I feel like Morehouse may need to find the Ivy League, if they can't pick up their recruitment, or maybe they need to really look into the transfer portal. Maybe they really need to look into some of these JUCOs to try to find talent that maybe can fit the academic standards. But if you go down in Atlanta, down into some of them neighborhoods, man, you're not going. I'm pretty sure they have, high. I'm pretty sure that those kids struggle with reading and stuff like that. I'm just, especially inner city kids. So I know that it's gonna be hard to get some of that talent that'll meet that academic, standard.
Right, and I want to say this too. Like I'm looking at college football rankings, and of course, in 1998 they went 0-11. But I'm looking at 2000, 2001, 2002. I see 2018 they had a great team. Like if anybody knows, because I was born in '96, I graduated 2019. What was Morehouse doing great in the early 2000s? Like even I didn't really pay attention as much to other schools outside of Fort Valley until I really started doing HBCU Post for real and started really getting invested in side football. But like, what were they doing well in the years that they were successful?
I think that, it was a coaching change. Freeman's been out there for about 12, 13, 14 years. He's been there for a while. So, I don't know. I don't know what has been the talent gap or why they struggle some years. You know, uh, like last year they started off 0-5, but then they got it together. And I'm guessing maybe they was thinking they were going to do the same thing this year. Yeah, we're going to struggle a little bit, and then we're going to be able to put it on. They just ain't been able to put it together, and they'll play good in a spurt, and then next thing you know, it just falls apart. Like they played Albany yesterday, and I think it was 0-0 after the first quarter. But then one of them backs from Albany, he got Coach Gay got so many down now. One of them true freshman backs, he breaks off a 75-yarder. Then Morehouse is driving the ball, get the ball on the Albany side, and then it's a fumble. Then Albany drives down and kicks a field goal. Then they come out, Albany kicks off the Morehouse, and then it's an interception on the first play. So, they play good in spurts, but then from there, they just kind of just fall apart.
Man, like I'm looking at the record from last year. Just see the change. Like you said, they started 0-5, but they played West Alabama. No, wait, I'm looking at it wrong. I'm looking at it right. They would play West Alabama, West
And
Georgia. So I mean, they started off really 0-3 to me. I don't count those first two.
yeah,
But they but
yeah.
they
So
beat Tuskegee, Fort Valley, Benedict, Clark Atlanta, and then they only lost 10-14 to Albany State that went on to win the SIAC championship. So like that talent even messed them up because they looked really good last year.
yeah,
And those
but
kids
Yeah.
could have
also,
woke up
yeah,
over the summer. Those kids could have woke up over the summer and said, "Man, listen, I'm about to go learn how to do surgery on somebody." Like I feel
yeah,
like that's one of the problems they may really struggle with. And it may sound like I'm joking, but I really do believe that that's
yeah,
something that those people deal with, like the coaching staff.
Well,
yeah.
let me tell
And
you
the,
something that
and
happened with Morehouse. Um, like you said, last year they act like they didn't even know what a football was till they played Tuskegee and Birmingham in the Classic, and they woke up.
yeah,
One thing that Morehouse is traditionally known for, they have a decent defense,
yeah,
and that has been like their saving grace. However, this particular season, I was a little curious about the coordinator change because when the coordinator left and went to state, he took Santos Dunn with him. He
yep.
took he took some of their weapons because they also had a quarterback that was there. I'm not sure if he went with him to state or went somewhere else,
Oh no, he
but
graduated.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, he graduated. But he was a 4-year starter.
yeah, like
So
he was the truth.
yeah, and Sims wasn't bad.
Yeah,
They simply when what's my man Williams went down to Alabama State. So he Santos went with him. A receiver went with him. And it was another, and a DB went with him. So they kind of, with Sims being a 4-year starter, it's kind of like they starting over, and they're just trying to find the right mix of what's going on. So you bringing in a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach. You got a new receiver coach, and they're just trying to find it. But what kind of turned that corner for them last year was they simplified the offense. They were playing so many young kids last year. They just simplified the offense. Morehouse brought back all 5 linemen. They brought back their top 8 offensive linemen from last year. But with the new offensive line coach, they've been trying to get it together. It's been a lot of shuffling on the offensive line. They lost some defenders, some players on the defensive side of the ball who could have came back and played this year. But like my man said, they went up, like Coach Thomas said, they went on and graduated because they already had jobs lined up. They missing 2 outs from last year's team who could have came back. They're missing a cornerback. The cornerback who was an All-American last year as a true freshman. He just decided that he wasn't going to play. So it's been some matriculation with some of their players, and they playing a lot of young guys this year too. Like they went down to play Albany yesterday, and 15 to 20 of them didn't even travel because of the COVID. So they played a lot of freshmen and sophomores yesterday. They played a true freshman at quarterback. The 3 backs that they played was true freshmen. They played 2 true freshmen on the offensive line yesterday. So on the defensive side, the 2 cornerbacks are freshmen. One of their better defensive players to his knee against Savannah. So they're playing a freshman at middle linebacker. They got a freshman that's playing a lot, that's playing defensive end. So they're getting beat up right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to keep this in mind, man. Nowadays, these kids want to win.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
In that Morehouse, again, the thing that hurts you is, look, Coach, I don't need football. I'm academically, I've always been a standout. I'm just here because, I'm just here playing football for fun, for real.
Yeah, and that's how they look at it. Football is not who I am. Football is something I do. That's how they look at it. And you can't be mad at a kid for making that decision. But you
think about it like this, though. The bad thing about that is this: if you got a team full of freshmen, you can say, okay, if they stick together for 4 years, they'll have together at least by the 4th year. Yeah. But in this case, you looking at you got too much you fighting against. These guys might say, man, look, after 3 years of taking losses, they might say, shoot, I'm done.
And that's kind of what happened with like they had a DB last year who they played at outside linebacker, Norman kid. The kid could have came back to school. He could have came back and played 2 years. He got a job with the government. He interned for the summer. Man, I ain't playing football. I'm getting ready to graduate. And that's what he did. They're going to have a lot of kids. They're going to have roughly 18 to 20 kids who can come back to school next year and play, but are graduating. So, they just got, like you said, Coach Thomas, you got to recruit. You have to build your numbers every year. Like right now, I think Morehouse might be running with about 80 players, maybe 85.
Well, let me ask you this: is there any truth to the? I've seen a lot of people say that they've cut their scholarships at Morehouse.
So I don't know if they cut the scholarships football wise, but they got so many other scholarships that they be trying to get the kids to apply for. But the thing with that is you got to have a certain GPA. Some of them kids, some of the kids that they going after, those kids also have other opportunities to go play somewhere else. At one time, Morehouse was a big stigma. Yeah, you're a Morehouse man, you're a Morehouse man, you're a Morehouse man. But shit, Tuskegee got the same academic reputation. Howard got the same academic reputation. A&T, Benedict, Central. So those kids are going now to play instead of coming to Atlanta and play. At one time you could have kids who be like, I might have to sit a year or 2 before I can play. Kids want to play. When they walk out of high school, they want to come in, be on a good football team, be able to compete for time. I want to be able to compete to be able to play.
Well, I'm definitely gonna reach out to Morehouse coaches. They got to get down here to Polk County and get some of these kids. Again, academically, they got to figure it out. Like if they need to talk with their admissions, they got to figure it out
Yeah,
down there, man. They got
and
to
they
figure
do.
that out.
Like if I was Morehouse football coach, basketball coach, baseball coach, I would go to them and say, look, you got to block out 10 to 15 slots for me for kids that's just not going to make the academic, just not going to have a 3.2 to get into school. They're just not. But the kid might have a 2.8. I need this kid to be able to come over and play. I want this kid to come into school. We're gonna make sure this kid do what he needs to do. And that's kind of what Coach Freeman needs to do. He needs to go in and say, look, I need 15 slots for kids who might not meet our admission requirements, but we're gonna make sure they get the tutoring, they get the advisement and everything around them so they can be successful. Especially with you pumping that you trying to uplift black man.
My bad,
That's
y'all. I just got something to say real quick. For the coaches that's trying to hit up Morehouse and send them players, if y'all can take a look at my film. My Twitter's on here. If y'all can send them my way, I wouldn't mind. I played DN, D line, linebacker. I got a 2.9 GPA. I'm a JUCO transfer out of Baltimore County. So yeah, if
okay.
y'all can just help me out, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
How
My
tall are you? You said you 6'5"?
I'm 6'3".
my
Okay, you
man,
6'3". Hey,
go.
look, listen, I'm gonna send your film to somebody. I can't promise you it's gonna be Morehouse though. But
Yeah,
back
I'm telling
to
you.
what we was talking about. Hey, let's talk about Central State and Lane College. I think that it's good to see Lane back on the winning side of things, man.
Yeah,
It's really
Yeah,
good to see. Let's talk about some
yeah.
West teams. It's really good to see Lane on the winning side. They had that Tennessee state win. I thought that was just an all-time high win for them.
yep.
Honestly, I thought they was gonna lose out this year, but they definitely shocked
Really?
me. I definitely had them losing.
Really? Like they did really good last year. Like they really started to come up on my radar
Lane was actually my
last year.
favorite coming to the season just because of who they had coming back. The quarterback Michael Huntley, he's a local guy in Montgomery, so I was kind of upset last year when they came down to Tuskegee and beat us with homegrown talent because they had a wide receiver from Notasulga. So I was a little upset about that. I think the problem that Lane has is depth. That's one of their issues, and the second is defensively. They can't make stops when they need to make stops. And so they rely heavily on their offense to just outscore people. When I watched their opening game with Arkansas Pine Bluff, if their defense could have gotten one stop, they would have beat Pine Bluff. Their offense was going toe to toe with Pine. That was the first shootout of the season. When they played Benedict, and I think that game was 14-0. I said, okay, I could deal with the Benedict loss. But I think they just kind of got lost in there. I said Saturday that the season just kind of got away from because they're there. We go back and forth. I think they might have scored 20 points and we scored 22 points in the fourth quarter. And all that happened within 5 minutes left in the game. It was back and forth. So next year, with what they're losing, I don't know. I think this was their best shot for a while, unless they just go out and do some really hell of a recruiting. But I'm a little disappointed. I don't know about. I know they can hang their hat. They beat Tennessee State, but if there was ever a year for them to come out of the West, it was this year.
Definitely. But I want to say this though about Central State. I really want the
Um,
best for Coach Porter.
yeah, I forgot they lost that Kentucky State game too, and that was the game that really confused me about them.
Yeah.
Because Kentucky State was able to contain their offense.
Hmm.
Yo,
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me? I feel like my earphones died out.
something happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Can y'all hear
Okay. If
me?
y'all can hear in the audience, send one of them little emojis or something.
Can y'all hear me?
Hello?
Y'all hear both of y'all.
All right, cool. Well, what I was gonna say is that I honestly feel like
All right.
really bad for Coach Porter.
But
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
man, that was just Lane. I mean, it has to be disappointing with what they thought that that they had coming back. It's just rough, but I mean, they a play away in most of those games.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Anybody else got anything else on Lane?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay, I want to make sure because my phone is acting crazy. Lane, just to me, like they really came on my radar last year. And I hope that they're able to maintain. Honestly, really do. That Tennessee State game, like that made me so proud because it showed that in D2 we can win too. Because one thing I hate is the talking point that they're just D2. We're not going to worry about Albany State playing FAMU because FAMU's supposed to win, or we're not going to worry about Tennessee State playing Lane because they're supposed to win. When there's talent down here. So like I really want the best for Lane, and I think that helps with parity in the conference because as someone that has seen a championship at Fort Valley, and I've seen Miles dominate, Albany State dominate. I think that parity is what helps the conference. It's what makes it interesting, especially if we're moving to a situation where there's no divisions. So I really hope that Lane can continue to recruit well. Maybe that Tennessee State win can get some recruits
All right,
excited
I'm
because
back.
I think it's good for
Can
them.
y'all hear me now? I was
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Phone froze up and everything. All right.
Oh man,
Who are we talking about? Lane.
Lane. Yep, Lane.
Lane College. Yeah, that's all I have on Lane. Who do they have next? Let's see.
They have Savannah
Who do
State.
they play
Savannah State.
Saturday? Because right now it's just for pride for them boys.
They play Savannah State next Saturday.
And I do want to see them go out strong. It's been a long time coming for them. Long time coming for Lane.
They gonna have a tough game Saturday.
Oh man, they got Savannah State and it's at Savannah. God. Well, okay. Okay. Um, and I'm gonna tell you now, I'm going with Savannah on this game. I ain't even playing around with that. I'm definitely going to Savannah State in that game.
If we look ahead to what's next, you got Kentucky State versus Central State. You got Miles College versus Tuskegee. Um, Edward Waters is at home. They don't have the game listed, but they're at home. Benedict College versus Allen. You got Clark Atlanta Morehouse, Fort Valley Albany State, Lane Savannah State. So let's take a look at this Kentucky State game. I think Kentucky State. I think that they gonna. I think that they can pull this one out against Central.
I just hope that they're not down too low. After that, they seem to kind of be their body language to me Saturday was a little down, which is one of the reasons why I made that post about them because one of their coaches early in the season had even posted about them not even having enough balls to practice with. And if been following them for a minute, they went through this. The school itself went through a financial scandal, and they were just cutting back with everything. They had to go to the state legislature to ask them. I want to say it might have been like $20 million or something to keep it afloat. And so you know how politics get. They were saying we should just pack all those kids up and take them to the University of Kentucky. They had to get rid of the president. They was talking about the money he was spending. So, in part of the deal, the bailout plan, I want to say it was some really low number that they have a committee that if they want to spend, it's a low number like a $500 or $1,000. If they want to spend $1,000, they have to go and get approved to spend $1,000. So I watched that. Later on in the off season, I started hearing rumblings about their head coach. Saying that he wasn't gonna. They want him to cut his staff. It was just certain things that he was standing on, and that he was going to actually leave. And I thought that was bad for him because I mean they had two, if I'm not mistaken, 2 7-win seasons back to back with him. They beat.
But that happens. But that cutting the staff during the season happens a lot. My freshman year at Benedict, I mean, coaches got cut during the middle of the year, man.
And it was one of those things, and I felt like the guys who stuck it out with Kentucky State when they first started the season, a lot of people were saying that they were bad, but if you go back, they played Delta State first game. They hung around with Delta State, and we know now that Delta State is for real. I mean, with their 9-0, I was hoping they got beat Saturday by the Mississippi College, but they opened up in that fourth quarter and took them to the woodshed. But so I was really rooting for Kentucky State when they started turning around. So for me, I'm going with Central State in the game, just because I don't know if you can keep them motivated if they can get up for that game. And by being at Central State too, I'm just not sure that they're gonna be up for that game. So I'm gonna take Central State in that one.
The only thing right now is that I don't trust Central State right now. I don't trust them right now because I think that Coach Porter, who he was Fort Valley's coach, he brought us the championship in 2016. I think he needs another recruiting cycle, before he really, can contend in the West. So I think Kentucky State, that defense I saw, against Tuskegee, like the first, 2 quarters, quarter and a half was really good, and I just feel like, like what Central State has to do is go out there and score on them. So I don't know if I can pick Central State in that one, honestly.
Didn't Porter get to Central State kind of late this season too?
He did. I forgot when he was announced, but he did get in pretty late. But I just feel like Central State's right there. Like Coach Porter is a really great coach, and I can say this as a Fort Valley alum. He was done dirty in the 2019 season. We started off rough, but we turned it around. But I feel like the school didn't like him losing to Albany. And I'm not saying it as a source, or I'm not reporting anything. But I honestly feel like they didn't like the fact that we lost to Albany every single year except for 2016 when you then went on to win the championship. Because how do you fire someone that went to 2 back-to-back championships his first 2 years and not give him the time to figure it out? At very least, give him like a year or two to figure it out. So I think he's a really great coach. I think he's the coach that's needed to turn around Central State and make it, an amazing powerhouse again. But he just needs time. But I don't think that they're going to win on Saturday. But I could be wrong. But I think they're not going to win on Saturday.
I watched that Brandon Cowles. That man carved our secondary up. When I say that, he carved us up when we played them. So I was shocked to see them go in. I understand you saying like you can't trust them because they'll show up one day. Like the offense that showed up against Winston-Salem, that's the offense that showed up the Tuskegee game. And
Tuskegee about to get carved up again this season. Don't worry.
Whoa.
It's coming soon.
Hey. Let me see. Let me see when. Because I know y'all hadn't beat us in probably the last 30 times we done played.
Uh-oh.
All I'm gonna say is this, man. Listen, we got the weapons now. It's I'm telling you, this would have been the year I would have liked to see Benedict go up against SC State after about 5 games in.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that.
I got you. I got you. I will say this is not the Benedict of old. But listen, this still Tuskegee, man. We coming. We coming, and you won't see them empty spaces like y'all see the other places. The shed is coming. We coming to take over Columbia, but we got business to handle first because we gotta whoop them Bears. Gotta whoop Miles, and this is Miles Hate Week. I don't
I,
know if y'all saw it on Twitter. The students did a little funeral for Miles because we just that's. I mean, it became a rivalry with Ruffin, but it was already like a little heated thing with Miles anyway. Because prior to Ruffin getting there to Miles, it was I want to say the 2010 year. We played Miles in the Labor Day Classic. And them boys drug Tuskegee up and down the field. And it was like from that day forward, I don't like Miles. And the last homecoming they came in, because we were just for sure that they weren't gonna beat us two homecomings. Like it was just like, nah. That first one was a fluke. Yeah. They came down there and I'll never forget the band playing ball in parlay, their fans hollering about, oh, we eating tiger soup today. That's been a bitter taste in my mouth. And so a lot of amongst Tuskegee people, if we can score 100 points, we want 100 points scored on Miles. So, like we just don't want to beat them. We want to demolish Miles.
but y'all are
And
going. Y'all going to. Y'all definitely are because Miles is suffering. Like y'all gonna beat up on him. Like it's not fair. That it's bullying.
but you
Now
know,
Miles going.
Miles
I
defense.
must say this. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
Miles is gonna come to play. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in that locker room over there, and again, they're huge underdogs in this game. But in that locker room, they looking across the way like, hey, they got our coach over there. And then some of the players went over with him, didn't
Yep.
yeah. We he rated them out, man, for where he came. Like it's a lot, and I think that had a lot to do with our earlier struggles getting those guys to play, like getting a team. That's one of the things that Coach Ruffin was talking about early in the season is getting those guys to mesh. And you're starting to see that now, which makes us a very dangerous team. My only concern about Miles is Miles can play defense when they want to. You go back and you look at the Benedict game. Yeah, you look at the score is 20-0, but then when you go in and see how Miles was able to kind of keep Benedict in check, it's the same thing with Albany State. Miles was able to pretty much hold them in check. So defensively, my we don't have our defense, in my opinion. Now Saturday, they kind of changed my narrative about them because I've seen where they've grown up in some places. But um, I don't know if I'm gonna rank us. We're definitely not top three at this point. Like they can prove to me that they're in the top three, but right now, no. Because we still have some questions in that secondary and our defensive line. Yeah, it's okay, but and it's getting better. So I, because I think Miles will probably be able to score on us, that scares me because they defense clamps down, and we have had some moments during the season where we just kind of get knocked off our rockers and just kind of get away from what we like to do. Um, Along with the hype of the game, it's homecoming. I mean, the whole coach. I'm pretty sure Coach Shade would love to beat Ruff in his first game. So I'm pretty sure Miles is going to be up. Now we can knock the air out them boys. Then we need to try to do it because
The whole Miles College is gonna be behind Miles this Saturday.
oh
You got
yeah.
the whole Miles. I mean, not only did y'all take the head coach, but y'all also took the athletic director. So I mean, I'm sure Miles gonna travel well this weekend down there.
I hear they're upset because like all our tailgating spots were already bought up, but we hadn't had a homecoming in 3 years, so as soon as those things went on, they were snatched up. So I hear that there's a lot of complaining on the Miles end about not being able to get in there because basically, I think last week they said they were nearing sold out, but from all the reports I'm hearing that the game is completely sold out. So.
Think about it like this. I mean, in the West Side, it's been Tuskegee and Miles. I mean, you had Kentucky State that 1 year, but it's really been those two teams. And so now you take Miles X Factor out. You got Ruffin on the other side. Now you're looking at potentially the West being strictly Tuskegee. Like, again, this is really gonna be Miles' make or break game as far as that series go. Because I feel like if Ruffin go in there and dog Miles out Saturday, man, it's how she rolls for him.
The only thing I'll say though is that, like, just looking at the stats, like, I don't see anything in previous games. I know this is a rivalry game. I understand what coach is saying, but there's nothing that tells me that Miles is going to score on Tuskegee and make it the game I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be the D2 version of Jackson State beating Southern. That's how I look at it. I love Miles. I just want to be real.
Well, I hope you're right because we need to get our guys rested because we got a trip to Columbia and we going to spoil somebody's undefeated season.
No, I can't support that one now. As a member of the SIAC East, as a Fort Valley alum, can't support that.
Oh man, listen.
D2. I'm
So
gonna say this: we're not worried about Tuskegee. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say about y'all, but we're not worried about y'all. We're worried about the big bad Allen, the guys across the
okay.
street. We worried about the bumblebees. That's who we worried about. We're not worried about y'all. We're going 1-0. There's no
They
reason
gonna
to worry about you guys.
gonna take issue with you calling the bumblebees. Now, the AD was in here. I think he stepped out. Mr. Cox was in here for a second. Yeah. Um, let's shift to possible playoff talk for a minute. We had Virginia Union go down Saturday.
Yep.
Down goes Frazier.
We had Lenore Ryan went down Saturday. Newberry went down. I think all those bids well for the team that wins the Fountain City Classic. I'm really thinking that SIC is going to get 2 teams in. Now, if Benedict runs the table and they beat Tuskegee, we're for sure getting 2 teams in. And whoever wins the Fountain City Classic. Well, if Albany State wins the Fountain City Classic, Albany State and Benedict, no doubt about it, will be in the playoffs. Just with because of North Ryan, they already have 3 D2 losses. I think Newberry has 2. West Florida is probably going to get another one. They have 1 loss. They're probably going to get a 2 loss because they have to go to Delta State. And so, I mean, it looks like this year 2 SIAC teams. If we get 3 SIAC teams in, that means no CIAA team is getting in. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think Tuskegee can make that a little difficult for 3 SIAC teams because if they went out and beat Miles, we already have the 1 D2 loss to Fort Valley at the beginning of the year, but we also stepped out and we played an FCS opponent, which doesn't count. So if we win, that'll give us our 10 D2 games, and we would be 9-1 if we win out completely. I think that'll be enough to get us in, and if they didn't drop Benedict too high. So I'm curious when these regional rankings come out. In my opinion, I think if Benedict is not 1, they have to be 2 in the regional rankings. They'll probably ease Delta State above them because of the strength of schedule, but Delta State also stepped out and played the FCS opponent. So right now, Benedict has more D2 wins than Delta State. So, but you know how those things go. Whoever we get, I don't care who it is. I'm here to tell you now. Whichever SIAC team gets in the playoff, I'm your biggest fan. I'm telling you that now. I don't care, and it depends on where you play. I'm going. I'm coming to support because the SIAC has been looked down from some out of conference play sometimes, but we've had some success in the playoffs. Tuskegee's had some success. Albany State has had some success. So it's good to see a team that hadn't gotten in get in there and hopefully, prove that we play a good brand of football in the conference.
Yeah, like that Virginia Union loss shocked me because they lost to Chowan. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's going to shake their confidence because Jada Byers is that guy. But if they lose to VSU, this week, it's gonna get interesting. But I want to ask you this: so, like, do you think that if let's say Fort Valley, because we lost to Savannah State, let's say Fort Valley beats Albany State, do you still think that Fort Valley will have a shot to get in the playoffs?
It's just going to depend on some of those other teams. So you got Wingate sitting at 7-1. Let me see if I can pull up the one. So you got West Florida. Like I said, Newberry has 2 losses. Lenore-Ryan, they now have 3 losses. Did Fort Valley play any FCS schools this season? Or
No,
they've been all D2?
No, all
all D2,
D2.
all
All
D2.
D2. Okay. Um,
Delta State undefeated.
yeah. Yeah. Delta State.
Virginia Union now have 1 loss.
Yeah.
They
They
need to
they
up
they
their
have 1
position,
loss.
man.
The only other thing that's hurting Virginia Union is that they play Virginia. Didn't they play VUL? They
Yeah, they
play
did.
VUL, and see those games don't count. So you look at, let's take the GSC for instance. To make sure that their teams have a better advantage to get into D2 playoffs, because all those games calculate. Like Mississippi College is going to play West Alabama twice on their schedule because a lot of them schedule each other twice to make sure that they have enough D2 games to get in. Of course, especially on the SIAC West, a lot of our schools play FCS opponents, for money purposes or whatever the little payout that we need to help kind of float the athletic budgets alone. And it hurts us when it comes down to playoff time. That's why, of course, I had invited the commissioner. We talked for a minute. He said one of these weeks he's going to get on. So we look forward to talking to him. I know he hinted at moving to an 8 conference game schedule. That's something that I personally welcome, but of course, people have their opinions about it, which way or the other. But I'm kind of looking forward to the 8 game schedule because what it will do will position our schools for the D2 playoffs. Now, after this season, Tuskegee will not be eligible for playoffs again. So we're going back to the old way where even when we had good teams, it didn't matter because we couldn't go because of the Turkey Day Classic.
That's
Which
so messed up. That is so messed up to me. Why can't, like, for example, in FCS, like, why can't the person that wins Celebration Bowl, why can't they go to the FCS playoffs, and why can't you all, when we switch back to the schedule, go to the D2 playoffs? Or why just that just makes no sense to me, you know?
yeah. So like so like this year the SIC championship game is on the 12th of November. That following week the playoffs start, and then the week after that would be the next week after the playoff start date. Then Tuskegee would have to play that Thursday against Bama State. So it's like because we already have another game on the schedule, it makes us ineligible because we would have to play that Thursday and turn around and play again that Saturday.
Yeah.
Now I've kind of gone back and forth because it started at a later date, I always said, hey, some of those years that we could have had a bye in that first round because like some of our 12-0 seasons, how the rankings ranked out, we would have had a bye. I'm like, hey, we take that bye and play Bama State this week, and because we won't have a game to the next week, so we should still be able to go. But whatever. Um, it's just one of those things. I am not a proponent of us going back to the Turkey Day Classic. I will say that I did not like it. I really liked what the Labor Day Classic was becoming between Tuskegee and Alabama State, and it also gave us the opportunity to go to the playoffs. So, of course, I don't make those decisions,
Right.
and they decided to go back to that game.
Well, let me ask this. So, like, what is more valuable? Is it, like, playing another HBCU, or is it, showing out and performing in D2 playoffs? Because I think that that's the contention amongst, HBCU circles is like, should we keep these rivalries? Should we do the Turkey Day Classic? Should we do these different games, or should we try to compete with these other, white schools, and go in and show that our football is valuable and try to get our guys drafted or increase their draft stock? Like, what?
My bad. I think
Oh, that's what I
everybody
said.
unmuted now. My
Yeah,
bad.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Um, to your question, I think it depends on who you ask. Um, I think some of the old vanguard, the you ask old ski heads, yes, they're more interested in the Turkey Day Classic. I think you ask some of the, us on the younger side, it's like, no, let's go make some noise in the D2 playoffs. Then there's a middle fraction. There's the people in the middle who they're pushing the university to go D1, right? And they feel like that's what we should be doing. And I also agree with that, but I wouldn't mind us playing D2 because if you go back and you look at like the attendance of the Labor Day Classic, what people had starts well, some people who don't really look into it, the Turkey Day Classic had started to bore. Um, Things change. The way people even interact with their families now, like that's changing. Okay, the landscape of things is changing. So you start seeing a decline in the attendance of the Turkey Day Classic, and you move to the Labor Day Classic. Then the students were able to get involved because both students, like they're gone during Thanksgiving. So you never really had that student engagement. The Labor Day Classic brought the students out. You had Alabama State Tuskegee trending on Twitter for a whole week and a half leading up to the Labor Day Classic. So it's like getting the older heads that are in position at Tuskegee to see that when the landscape is changing, this is where it is. Look, the market value is here. You're trying to hold on to something that is fading away. So uh, we just have to
So,
see, have to tough it out.
so let me ask you this. So, and honestly, because I like to admit when I don't know things. I honestly did not know that the Pioneer Bowl was ever a thing. Like, why did they stop that?
Um, a lot of people say finances. I think a couple of years you get a bad matchup. They moved it around a couple of times. Like even one year we played the Pioneer Bowl in Benedict Stadium. That was actually the last time that I went to Benedict. We played. I want to say we played Bowie State in that Pioneer Bowl, or somebody we played. Um, it probably I think it was Bowie, but just finances. We had a year where they canceled it and then they said they was gonna bring it back, and I just don't think that they were able to get the sponsors for it. Now, when it initially started, it was the Southern Heritage Bowl was first, and then the Pioneer Bowl was played right after. And I think for a couple of years we played Winston Salem back to back in it. And then I know one year we played Shaw in Mobile. Now, why in the world was this the Pioneer Bowl in Mobile with Shaw? I don't know. It's like some of those
2004.
things where it was some questionable things. So I think it would have to be something where both conferences would have to sit down and they had to discuss some things because you can mess around and get a bad matchup. I mean, what if you mess around and get a Lane versus Shawan in the Pioneer Bowl? It's
Well, I
like
mean, would it really be a bad matchup, or would it be almost like what the Jaguars and Broncos were today? You know what I'm saying? Whereas that might be a great game, but just with teams that aren't as great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the attendance factor is so
True.
when the SIAC championship game when it was in Montgomery, and then you mess around and you get 2 years where you don't get Tuskegee in it, and Tuskegee was in it the first year, and everybody was gun ho was happy because yeah, Tuskegee Albany State traveled well. Albany State they have hit and misses with their travel, like but eh, then you get that year where it was Kentucky State and Fort Valley. And I know that the city, they actually it was a couple city council meetings where a couple of the gentlemen on the city council was like, "Hey, we're putting all this money into trying to get this game here, and it's not beneficial." So I knew that was going to end. I just think if it's the right team, you're gonna get good attendance. It's the other team. So I guess you have to do something like the Celebration Bowl and try to get it you know, get a media deal on it to try to help it out, but they just couldn't get it. there was talk last season. I know there was some people, just chatting on Twitter about, wanting the Pioneer Bowl back. But I don't know if the coaches in some of these athletic departments really would be down for it, because you talk to a lot of these HBCU D2s, they want to play in the playoffs. Like, hey, they want to go out and challenge. A lot of them saw what Winston-Salem was able to do. Um, and you had schools that were saying, no, we want to play. Like, who cares? And I think, and another thing, CIAA never sent their SIAC champion. I mean, sent their conference champion. It was always the runner up, because their champion was going to the playoff. They didn't choose to go to the Pioneer Bowl. And so normally what it would be Tuskegee be the SIAC. Tuskegee would be the SIAC championship, and then the SIAC champion, and then you'll play like the runner up, or the third team that's in third place, if both teams are able to get into the playoffs, the champion, the runner up. So I think that made the interest dwindle too, by not having the champion. So like the SWAC and the MEAC, like they mandate that both champions play.
Hey, hey, real quick, I want to let you know, Coach Thomas, something's going on with his microphone, and he asked me to get you to give him a mic or something like that. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
But on Twitter you have like the different comments on the Twitter Spaces, and my fellow Fort Valley alum, I am a designer, Southern Georgian is that name. He said the Pioneer Bowl should never come back. It was the Tuskegee Invitational. It was the wrong time of year, and the fans weren't attending the games during the holiday season. The Pioneer Bowl came about in the later '90s when I was an undergrad. Like for me, I just like the aspect of like the CIAA's best playing against the SIAC's best. I really want to see, and maybe that time has passed now, but I want to see where Bowie goes in CIAA. But I really want to see Bowie at his best versus Albany State now. Like maybe that could be the first game of the season or something. Maybe it could be week 0. Like I just want to just see the SIAC's best versus CIAA's best.
Yeah, so a lot of people last season was really hoping that we got that Bowie State versus Albany State matchup in the playoffs. That was like a lot of people saying, "Hey, let's really see." But here lately, this season, the season before this, I think we got some matchups, with the CIAA. Like Benedict beat the brakes off Elizabeth City earlier. I would be interested to see a Benedict in a Virginia Union.
I would love
To
that.
see.
I would
Yeah,
love that. Oh my gosh. I would love that. Like Jada Byers versus Northern Area Scotland, just like Benedict's defense versus Jada Byers. I would love that. Like I have no idea why we don't schedule those games.
yeah, and it's like one of those things where I guess those teams in the East would be more logistical to schedule some of those. I know like Tuskegee has had like Winston Salem. We've had home series with Winston Salem. We were supposed to have one with Virginia State, but that went sideways. Who else have we played? Out of Seattle, like outside of the Pioneer Bowl, like those are the only ones I know. Miles had a series with Shaw. They had a home series with Shaw, and most of those games are, like they're really competitive. But like you said, we don't ever get the two top. It's rare that we get the top. I think we probably had maybe one Pioneer Bowl that we got their champion. That's because they had a couple D2 losses and they couldn't get into the playoffs that particular season. I don't know. I would like to see us schedule those CIAA teams a little better. But like I said, the SIAC West, most of them are going to have one or two of those FCS schools, on their schedule, so that kind of ties their hand. And then if we go to an 8-game schedule, that's going to make it even harder. Eight conference game schedule, that's going to make it even harder to try to get more CIAA matchups. So It's just the nature of the game, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and let me bring this up too, because I've heard the opposite of this from a lot of D1 spaces and forums and a lot of D1 talking heads. It's like, well, why do you play, a D2 school? But why are D2 schools playing? I understand, like, like the rivalries, like, you have Tuskegee, Alabama State, and Miles and Alabama State played. But why are we, for example, outside of maybe just the rivalry and maybe some money, why are we playing FAMU? Like, why are we playing some of these schools? Why are we playing some of these white schools when we could play each other? You know what I'm saying? Like, and this might be ignorant to a point, but I always wondered, like, why are we so invested in out of conference outside of money and showing the strength of the conference? I just feel like it's more beneficial to play within the conference. Like how you said, like I forgot what conference you said, but they schedule each other twice. I hope I would love to see Benedict Fort Valley again. Like now that Benedict is still rolling, Fort Valley's doing their thing. Like I would love to see something like that. I always just wondered that.
So prior to them bringing the CIAA back to the getting put back into Super Region 2 when they did the realignments, when they were in, I forget what region they were in, but they was in another region. For the SIAC, it wasn't beneficial to play CIAA teams if you had playoff hopes, because in region games matter too. Like that's one of the part of the calculations that go into your rankings to get in. And by them not being in the region, so like Albany State used to play a couple CIAA schools back in the day, pretty regularly, but once they were out of that region, they start scheduling. You start seeing them schedule like a lot of GSC schools, and it was because Albany State, that's what they did. Like they wanted to go to the playoffs. Like that was their MO. My problem with it is I understand, us getting one FCS school on the schedule, like if you just need it for money wise. But if those schools were just more honest about I mean, if your school is just like Tuskegee has just decided, hey, we don't care about the playoffs anymore. We're going back to playing Alabama State to keep the rivalry for the check and because we want to try our hand at D1. Okay, so it's almost like, hey, let's forfeit this D2 hopes. Leave it to them. Um, then you get schools like, let's say like Benedict this particular season. Benedict will have 10 D2 games. Like that's how it is because it doesn't matter if Benedict drops the championship game, they'll still have 10 actual D2 games, that goes into their calculations. So they're in prime, like they're in the driver's seat for a playoff spot. Um, unless just something horrible happens and they lose to Allen and lose to Tuskegee and somehow, they get knocked down. But I don't foresee the losing to Allen happening. So
Yeah.
it really just depends on the school and the mindset of the school. Now, like Albany State last season, they played three GSC schools, and I'm like, you don't need to play three of them now, unless you're trying to jump to the GSC. And it's weird because when I mentioned something about it, their AD, it was a weird comment that he responded when I was talking about if Valdosta State leaves out of the GSC and jumps up to FCS, would they come after Albany State? Because a lot of people have, like, that's been a running narrative here lately about maybe Albany State jumping to the GSC. I think, if I'm not mistaken, their women's soccer plays in that conference too. So I don't know. I that's just something that I'm watching closely to see how they do it. So I was shocked to see FAMU actually on their schedule this year because normally that slot is filled with another GSC school, but they took the FAMU game. I don't know if they have a 1 or 2 year contract with them, but man, it just depends on the school and like what they feel. If they're serious about D2 playoff, yeah, they're gonna put a GSC team on it. They're gonna put a team. But now with the CIAA being back in Super Region 2, they could actually schedule more of those CIAA teams and see how that goes. They might fare a little bit better. But you're right about you're also right about being invested in certain things. My whole thing is that I don't like to cry about losing the GSC schools. Just beat them. Just to me, just shut up and beat them. I don't care. Like I don't see how teams like a Mississippi College can out recruit a Tuskegee. It's just some of those
Right.
things. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that they're able to come in our backyard and get talent, and they can come back and beat us with it. Now, some people talk about the development. Listen, when we went to North Alabama, the first 2 years Tuskegee was in the playoffs, we lost both games by 3 points. Georgia, we had a home game. West Georgia came to Tuskegee, we lost by 3. They blocked the field goal to tie the game at the end of the game, and they won. The second time we went to North Alabama, we lost by 3 points. Okay, that was the first season that North Fleet came. That next season, next year North Carolina will beat North Alabama, Greenville beat North Greenville, um, and, Georgia to come out of the region, and uh, they took it to us pretty bad. But just depends on where your school's mindset is, in my opinion.
Right. And I think Coach Thomas is back. Like when you got things, I was gonna let you know he was trying to request. Looks like he's back.
I'm back,
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
God, dog.
Yes, sir.
But no, man, just hey, listen. Obviously it's a lot that I missed out on because I didn't have a mic. Just looking forward to the playoff picture, man. I think that it'd be good for us to get a couple of teams in this year. I personally going back on the Alabama State Tuskegee game, I like that concept. I wish that it wasn't played on Thanksgiving though. Like I wish they could find another date. So like maybe even during Christmas, maybe it become a bowl game or something like that. That would be a
Right.
great concept for that.
Is there a D2 ball game outside of the championship? Because they consider D championship a ball game. Is there a D2 ball game?
Not that I'm aware of at this point.
I feel like we need that. We need that. I feel like just to put ourselves out there, and not necessarily the component of having it on ESPN. Although I know that the site most likely would go with them, but just like having us on that big stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it, but I guess the pushback to that is when did the D2 playoffs end? Uh,
I know last year it ended I think it ended before the Celebration Bowl. So it was one of those days before the Celebration Bowl when Ferris State beat Valdosta last year.
okay, yeah, yeah. So it's just playoffs. Everybody want that national championship. Um, just some people are for real about wanting it, and some people are not for real about wanting it. They just play like they want it.
Hey, CT, one of Benedict former quarterbacks is actually in the space. He actually Chris Thomas. Hey, nah, CT, I'm thinking the same way about that, man. They should have the runner ups from each conference play in the game,
Yeah, I
or
saw
a
that.
team that gets slated from the D2 playoffs. Like let's say Virginia Union don't make it for whatever reason this year, and let's say Tuskegee don't make it, or if Tuskegee does make it, maybe Fort Valley or Albany State. If either one of those teams didn't make it, like the next best team should play in the Pioneer Bowl. But again,
Mhm.
I think that's even a game that they should play in like December, or you know what I'm saying? Give it its own stage.
Right. And like the thing I never liked is I never liked how you can name an HBCU national champion, quote unquote, all playing the Celebration Bowl when you have Bowie going crazy in D2, Albany State going crazy in D2. Like how can you? And I know this is a construct of past 7 years, but how can you say somebody's an HBCU champion, but there's other HBCUs that aren't in the SWAC or the MEAC that had great teams, and Bowie went undefeated one year, but nobody was talking about them. So I feel like that Pioneer Bowl would do good in crowning a quote unquote D2 national HBCU champion. You know what I mean?
Because in my opinion, if Benedict runs the tape, which I'm saying this hypothetically because y'all know y'all gonna get that L from Tuskegee. But hypothetically, if y'all was to run the table, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna be calling nobody else no HBCU championship champion because unless we're breaking it down like FCS HBCU champion and D2 HBCU champion because Benedict is having an amazing season. And then if they get in the not if when they get in the playoffs and make some noise, I'm taking if away because this is the year that an HBCU is coming out of Super Region 2. Okay, this is the year. It's been a long time coming. We're gonna finally put the GSC to sleep and prove that an HBCU can come out of this region. So,
It's the year of the purple and gold Tigers, baby.
I'm with it.
I mean, this one I'm down for. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm down for. Tuskegee and Benedict may play twice
You think
because
so?
if when Tuskegee beats y'all SIAC championship and we get in the playoffs, y'all handle y'all business, we handle our business. Okay. Hey, us two meet to come out of the region. That's what I'm rooting for.
I like that.
That's what I'm rooting for. Hey, and we'll see. Best out of two. Let's see.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hey, CT, I like what you said. CT said that he would take it a step further for the black college national champion. He'll take it further. The winner of the Celebration Bowl versus the Pioneer Bowl for the black college national champion. I like that
Okay.
idea.
So with that one, I thought about that, but I just don't want Jackson State to beat down on Benedict or Tuskegee or whatever. That's the only thing.
Man, you got Benedict messed up.
Against Jackson State? Against Travis Hunter?
Man, we'll scrap it up with anybody.
I feel it. I feel it. Like I get the confidence, but did you see the game yesterday?
Nah, I definitely did, man. Listen, hey, listen, I'm gonna just tell you this. I wouldn't want us to play Jackson State, but I'd take a couple of them teams that got
Oh, for
one
sure.
wins and in the SWAC, 1 or 2 wins in the SWAC. I'll take a couple of them any day.
Oh, 1,000% because I believe that because even though it's Fountain City Classic Week, I'm a Fort Valley alum. I'm SIAC, you know what I'm saying, and I feel like Albany State will beat a lot of these teams. I feel like Benedict could beat a lot of these teams. Just not Jackson State's on a different level because of the talent, but like a lot of especially the teams I've seen, Grambling would go down. I think Albany State and Benedict could be Grambling. I think that Texas Southern would be a good matchup. I like Andrew Body, but still. I feel like we got some good football over here, and the SWAC looking real interesting right now. Real interesting, real shaky.
Like I
If I'm
said,
not
this would be the
mistaken,
year. I'm gonna be honest. I played against South Carolina State twice when I was at Benedict, and again, it was a huge talent gap. I think both years we held South Carolina State to 14 points in the first half. But then that's when, the second half, they always had like at least one All-American defensive end, that would show up and just ball out the second half on us. So I feel like personally, like this would be the season I would love to see BC get some of that this year. Like right now, instead of Allen, cancel that game, tell South Carolina State to come back down to Columbia this year and come get some of what we got.
if I'm not mistaken, I don't think there was a single SIAC team that got blown out by a SWAC team this year. Most of them was in like a possession away. With I think Lane lost by a touchdown. Bama State was 13-21. I think it was like 13, maybe like 13-24. Albany State and FAMU this year. I mean, and then you've had years where, like the 2019 season, the 2019 season, Kentucky State beats Jackson State. Um, of course, Tuskegee has had their success. They used to call us the FCS Slayers at one point. There's been years where we've beat the SWAC East and the SWAC West champ in the same season. So it can be done. I do understand the depth part because that's just one of the things that just comes along with it with the more scholarships. But the more creative and the more like that transfer portal and the guy was saying earlier, getting those guys that want to play earlier, that won't go and sit on the bench at a FCS school, but will come start. For us, I think that makes us a little more competitive because who would have thought that a lane would be competitive with a SWAC school at one point? But the game is just changing, and that's just shout out to the commitment that some of these universities have made into their programs, and also hiring quality coaches. Now, early in the conversation, we talked about Morehouse and what happened. I think Morehouse went through something kind of like what Tuskegee kind of went through, where you start seeing the other schools in the conferences start to invest in their programs. So, who would have thought Benedict would be sitting here where they are now?
I knew Benedict was going to be here.
I did too. I knew they were
it.
coming. I knew they were coming too.
And you want to know something? When I seen that our head coach was at the HBCU Legacy Bowl last year, I was like, man, that's an elite position to be in. Being a D2 coach. I said to myself, man, you know what? If they giving him this platform, dog, that means he's really what they say he is.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming.
When I heard Coach Berry speak, and I always tell people, you go back and check my tweets. Like when I first heard him speak, when they first made the hire, I said, I tweeted the president and the athletic page, and I said they have a jewel in Coach Berry. When they hired Coach White, okay, after they got rid of Woody and they brought in Coach White, and he had that, I think he had one really good season, and then it just kind of fell apart on him.
No, Mike White had two. He had two winning seasons.
Okay.
My senior year, no. He had one. My senior year, we should have had a winning year, but we ended up losing to Albany. We should have been in the conference championship game that year, but I don't know what happened when we played against Albany State. They ended up beating us. It was Coach White first time going back home to Albany State. They ended up beating us, and then Fort Valley ended up getting in, even though we beat Fort Valley that year.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about 2016. It's crazy.
Smack Fort Valley that year.
Hey, true, but who was the champions? Who was standing last? You know what I mean? You gotta finish the mission. You feel me? Gotta finish the story. Gotta finish it. We finished it.
Yeah, you're right. So we outright SIAC champions 2016. I need to order my ring. I should have had one.
Hey, man, you'll get a ring this year. I don't know about 2016, because we got them rings that year. All right, 2016 we got them the rings. But I gotta say, what this is crazy is that this is the first Fountain City Classic that doesn't have SIAC championship implications in, I think, a long time, if ever. And it feels different. It feels so different. But the fact that Fort Valley, we can ruin Albany's playoff chances possibly, that makes it sweeter. I'm just really nervous at what I saw with that Savannah State game. I think Coach Gibbs is an amazing coach, and he's done an amazing job. So this is probably, and I know we have a Fort Valley alum that's in the chat on Twitter. I'll yield to him, and I even ask him, is this the best team since '98? This the best team since '99? Because
hey, Randy, y'all can go enjoy the tailgates and all that, man. Go buy y'all some Fort Valley gear. Go get you some hot dogs, hamburgers. Hey, but I'm gonna say this about Fort Valley. I went to y'all homecoming, man. It was amazing. I had an amazing time. For the first time ever, man. Y'all got a unique situation because I was able to leave out of the stadium during the game, go out to the tailgate spot, get me something to eat for the free, and then come back in after halftime, come back in and watch the game, man. That is a unique situation.
Really?
It really is. At Benedict, it's not like that. I was just at home coming
Oh.
Saturday. I asked Leigh, I said, hey, listen, can I go out the gate? I said, can I come back in? And she looked at me like maybe she didn't know if I could come back in or whatever. So I just went back in and sat down. I was like, man, I ain't going out the gate.
Well, what I'll say is that I wasn't at homecoming this year, but I made it up. I went to the game yesterday, but I don't know if we really do let that happen. I need my fellow Fort Valley alum here to let me know in the chat. But we have the student center, so I mean, like as long as you got your ticket, you going to the student center, you good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad you got that experience. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you got it.
Man, but wait, did you just say they gonna get a ring this year? Is that what you said?
Oh,
Yeah, Benedict finna handle Hey, listen,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this humbly as I can. I'm gonna say this peacefully as I can. Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina, owns the SIAC
SIC in general.
this year.
Mm.
Now, this is our year. Every week we've made history. Every week at Benedict we've made history. We're rewriting the history books this year. Tuskegee's already won a number of championships in the conference. Fort Valley has already won a number of championships in the conference. Albany State has won a number of championships in the conference. But now, that dirty purple is the dirty purple time. And ain't none of y'all team. And listen, I'm saying this humbly because again, it's still 1-0. I know one of the players is in the chat right now. I see you, my guy. Let's ball out Saturday against Allen. But I'm saying this humbly. Listen, we're not worried about Tuskegee until Tuskegee has to come to Columbia to see us. This week, we're worried about our across the street rivals because Allen University, I don't know if y'all know how close they are to Benedict, but it's literally right across the street.
I heard 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes
Like the
away.
football players could call each other up right now and be like, line it up right here in the middle of the street. We ain't gotta wait till Saturday. That's how close it is.
Now I have seen Benedict and I have seen Tuskegee. I don't have a dog in this fight. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a really, really, really good game. Tuskegee can pound that ball with them two backs. Tuskegee can pound that ball with them two backs. And the quarterback, the Williams kid, he's so much improved from last year to this year. I actually thought that the kid from Alabama A&M would end up being the starter about game 4, but he held him at bay. That kid ain't bad. But like I said, it's going to be a good game because Benedict got some dogs.
And let me tell you something else about our quarterback room. We got a true freshman that won the game for us at Clark. He has the highest pass efficiency. I think he went 20 for 30. He went 20, yeah. 20 for 30, something like that. And so listen, Williamson, like he is really improved. Coming into the season, everybody thought Nettles was gonna be the guy.
I thought Nettles would be the guy.
But the same thing that got him in trouble at Bama State. It was the interception.
Okay.
You know, that's just what got him into that not really knowing where to go with the ball. So Williamson just beat him out, and he's been playing lights out for us.
I'm gonna
right
say
now.
this. I don't mean to cut you off, D2, but I'm gonna say
Go
this.
ahead.
Y'all offensive line won't be able to block our defensive line. Lubert Denellis, number 13, is the best defensive lineman in the conference.
Yeah, he ain't bad.
Hey,
He ain't
number 9,
bad.
hey, listen, and all across the board, that defensive line is straight dogs. I'm telling you, the defensive
Like I
line
said,
coach has a D1 coaching pedigree.
yeah, like I said, it ain't gonna be a blowout. It'll be a good game. Like you got to deal with Tuskegee in those two backs, and you got to deal with with Tuskegee, 2 defensive end, and they're back in the middle. Now Benedict got some dogs too. Now I would not take that from Benedict. Though the back, the starting back is the transfer from the boy from the young man from Kennesaw State, right?
Correct.
But the other back that they got behind him, 21,
He's just as good.
that motherfucker still dog too now.
Man,
He is a
listen.
dog.
Hey, Pope.
Saturday, he had a coming out party. But I'm telling y'all, the biggest X factor is our offensive line. The fist.
Yep.
That's what we call it. The
Yep.
fist. I'm gonna tell you like this. If y'all need to go this Wednesday, every Wednesday, Coach Chinnisberry show comes on. They tweet it out. Y'all need to go check it out so that y'all can hear Coach talk about the team and the way it's built.
Yeah.
You
Now
can go
Benedict,
actually go on YouTube and watch some of that stuff. But I'm telling you this right now. The fist is really the glue to the team because they got a kid that started at North Carolina, University of North Carolina, that plays offensive tackle. But going back to defense, Lupert Danellis is the best defensive lineman in the conference.
he
The man is
good.
literally unblockable.
Yeah, he's good.
This CT checking in. I actually got a chance to see Tuskegee in the Clark game, and man, up front, I don't know if Tuskegee O lineman gonna be able to hold Benedict D lineman. I mean, the O lineman. I just don't think. And like I say, I am a graduate from BC, former quarterback, as my boy Coach Thomas said. But like I say, man, I do not. I mean, I don't know. I think Benedict, a lot of stuff I have to go against them for Tuskegee to be able to, because I think Tuskegee want to throw the ball around.
No, Tuskegee like the pound. Now going back to Benedict offensive line. Not to cut you off, my dude. The line is damn legit now. That line's legit, but they're old, they're experienced. Some of them have played big time college ball and moved down for whatever reason. But the line is good. But you got to contend with those 2 backs from Tuskegee. That makes them go. The one that transferred from Miles and little short dude.
Yeah.
He's
tough.
Toro. Now, I'll say this. I understand why you say that after the Clark game because I think our offensive coordinator got caught up in the hype of that game. Because you go back and you look at, we had no negative yards running the ball against Clark because they're so undersized. We could have pushed Clark around, and that game would have not been interesting. We kind of played Clark into that game, and so it's like one of those things where we threw the ball like uncharacteristic in that game. That it was just one of those things we aired it out, and I'm like, wait, why are we doing this? We can just run the ball on these guys.
That's what I thought you were gonna do. Because y'all had a lot of success. I mean, y'all was gashing them for 18, 20, and then come back and try to throw the ball.
And just throw the ball. Like have 3 series where we just have 3 straight passes and just I'm like, I have no idea. I do share your sentiment about not being able to block Benedict up front. We've done some shuffling around. I got faith in my guy Ellis, but we can see that now.
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this, and I don't want to cut you off. I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you think, just based on, like I say, I only got to see Tuskegee versus Clark, but knowing like how we sitting here talking about the D line and the O line, and I'm pretty sure they coaches see it too. Do you think, Ellis and them and your OC may come in and saying, man, we ain't gonna try to run this ball. We're gonna try to get the ball out quick, run screens, and go. Do you think he go away from the game plan?
I mean, I think if you go back and you look at the success that Clark was able to do, I think that with Edwards now, I don't think that Taylor is going to be our guy running up through the center that game. Like sometimes they have him running in between the tackles, but I think Edwards. I think Edwards will find success against Benedict in that middle because one of the things that I didn't think that Clark was going to be able to run the ball at all on Benedict. Just honestly
Yeah.
speaking.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there, D2. Let me stop you right there. Again, when them guys had success, we was rolling guys in. Everybody in the stadium was like, Coach, keep your ones in. But again, like I say, when they had the success they had during that game, the quarterback was running around with the ball. He was playing backyard football. When they had the success they had, we had tools in. It got to the point in the fourth quarter where it looked like it could have been a game. We put our ones back in so we could, we could just, kill the gnat with a sledgehammer. But I'm telling you this: don't look at that. Don't look at that score sheet and think that it wasn't that. It really wasn't.
And
My
I'm going to say
Tuskegee
this
guy
about
here.
Tuskegee.
Yeah, sometimes coaches outthink themselves. You know, you know what you do well, and somebody's gonna try to take away what you do well to make you do something else. Sometimes you just have to use your short passing game as an extension of your run game.
Yeah.
Benedict is good. Benedict is good with that. They'll pop. Then next thing you know, boom, they off from running. And Tuskegee kind of just student by the right, student by the left. We're gonna dive this thing. We're gonna run ISOs. Sometimes you have to use a little short passing game as an extension of your run game. It's gonna be a good game, and it's gonna
I
be a
believe so.
very, very, very interesting game. It's gonna
Benedict,
be.
but hey, listen, Benedict has. I'm gonna tell you this too. Benedict depth at receiver, at tight end. It's just as crazy as you, like I say, across the board. Benedict, even that quarterback, man, they backup quarterback can spin that ball, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Back up from Southern. He came from Southern.
Yeah, he
Right.
came with Barry, right?
Yeah.
But now let me ask y'all this. And not to get off for the subject. Do y'all think Barry's gonna be at Benedict next year?
I think he's
Hey, don't
gonna get
speak
you.
on that just yet. Don't talk about that.
I
Why
know
do
I
that?
know Thomas don't want to talk about it, but I'm gonna speak on it, man, because my ear is to a lot of stuff. I'm actually a coach too in high school, but talks is, man, I'm hearing UAP. Is it UAPB? Yeah,
Yeah, Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff. I'm hearing Pine Bluff. I'm hearing.
I'm hearing Valley too.
What's
Well,
the school? What's the school? Is it West Alabama or South? One of them just let go of their coach.
my
Valley.
only thing,
What
is
Valley?
why would he leave Benedict
Yeah, to
and
go to
go
Fort
to
Valley.
Valley to go like why would he leave Benedict and go to Mississippi Valley or University of Arkansas or Pine Bluff
Well,
when he has
Division
an
One.
undefeated
It's
team?
Division One money.
But it's gonna be harder for him. Like they ain't like I don't. I mean, I think he would do great there, but you have something great here. You know what I mean?
Right, but
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Though, as a one thing about being at HBCU, because once again, I coached at Benedict College as well. But I can tell you this, man. I don't know financially where the school at right now, but it's a ceiling at Benedict. Like it's capped off. Like this is my thing. Two things you got to factor in: COVID and like a lot of transfers. So the COVID rule, like Benedict, we have a lot of older guys. You got a lot of players that came from your Division One AA schools and some ACC school. But what I'm thinking that, man, I think he may look at it like I've done something that's never been done before. Let me ride out while I'm high and these FCS jobs is calling, because I mean, if he go to Mississippi Valley, for one, he's gonna be able to get his staff paid. All right.
Yeah.
He's also gonna get paid, and he's gonna get other contracts, that he's not able to get at Division II level. And it's one of them things like it's like somebody say, if you're an older guy, like when Georgia Southern was winning back in the day, it almost like somebody would say, why would Irk Russell leave Georgia Southern to go to Georgia Tech when Georgia Tech is sorry? And Georgia Southern is winning these national championships. It's money.
Yeah.
Money, dog. You got as us as black coaches, we only gonna be able to get so much money out of coaching football unless you get on the FBS, and we barely gonna get a head coaching job. at that level. So I look at it like, I mean, who's to say he can't go and with them connections he had at Southern to get kids to come in and transfer? Because kids are transferring left and right now. Whether he get kids from Southern, LSU,
Yeah, they coming. They want
wherever.
to play.
And the good thing about it now, you don't have to sit out no more when you transfer.
Yeah.
The reason I hate this talk simply because number
He's
one,
changing.
we
Yeah.
we in the middle of a season, man.
Right.
We ain't focusing on the money right now. We focusing on 1-0. We want to go 1-0. Now,
But
next
that's
thing
what
too.
comes with the territory, though.
No, and I understand that,
Coach.
but next thing too. Another reason why I'm not. I understand again what's at stake. I understand again. Obviously, Benedict is not a storied program, in the past. And again, this is like a magical season, especially for a diehard Tiger like myself. This is what I wake up in the morning. I wake up looking to see what Benedict finna post, so I can show the world.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah.
I get the money aspect of
Yeah.
it. I mean, again, I've been offered college coaching positions that paid less than what I make as a high school coach.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand. I get it.
Yeah, man. That's just the nature of the beast, bro. And like, who's to say, man, that he may have built the culture, in the 2 years he's been there, to where his OC or his DC may decide not to go to Valley or UAPB or wherever he may go, and they become the head coach. You get what I mean? So it ain't always bad. Like, if Barry leave, then the whole staff will leave. No, I highly doubt that. Or has he made Benedict more attractive to some of these guys that's at your North Alabamas, your Valdosta States? You know what I'm saying? Like the black coaches that's on them staffs, the defensive coordinator. So
as long as they don't bring James Woody back, let's keep Woody retired for good, baby.
Man, don't do my boy Woody.
Hey, Woody, my guy. Hey, listen, I can't front on Woody. Woody asked my guy, but y'all, I'm gonna give y'all some. I helped Woody move out of his spot whenever he was leaving. So I love Woody, man. He my dude, man. I'm still keeping contact
outside
with him.
of that other stuff, man, he's a great guy, man. He's a great guy. He gave me my first coaching job, so I always have a lot of respect for him, man. But like you say, man, James Woody, man, still got SWAC records from when he was coordinating at Jackson State, but
he's a bad man.
But I know you don't want to talk about the Barry leaving, but it's out there. It's the nature of the beast, man.
I get it. But like I say, my thing is this too, though. I knew Coach Barry was a hot commodity simply because, this man was in the Legacy Bowl. Listen to me. This man was coaching an offensive line I want him to stay simply because I know that's going to provide more Benedict football players the opportunity to play in the Legacy Bowl. You get what I'm saying? Like, it takes it to a whole nother scale. Like, the man was in a big-time all-star game.
Yes.
And he's a D2 coach, which now that gives his players another platform to really get recruited by NFL scouts because he does have those connections because he's spending the whole week with NFL scouts. Like, that's big time right there. It's bigger than I want to see some of our kids go play pro ball. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm looking at. And I really do feel like with the level of talent they have on that team, like it's a couple of them guys that's gonna be able to get a shot at that for real.
And then let's since we talking about coaching, changes and everything, let's talk about the nature of the beast in the SIAC though too with this. How long are we gonna continue to cycle coaches?
That's a great question.
Ooh, you know what?
Right, get him out of there.
You said how long we gonna continue to recycle?
Yeah, to recycle coaches when they get fired from one school and going to another school and coaching. And because Benedict, if you notice, Benedict is having success right now because Barry is not. Barry came from the SWAC. He's not one of these coaches that got laid off at this school, and
Coach, I think that's our two Division II HBCU conferences problems. Cause the CIAA the same way. They just retreads. That's basketball all the way down to football. They just retread.
That's even at the FCU level because if you look at nothing right now. If Barry was a year, if Barry did last year what he did, what he doing right now, he's Southern head coach right now.
Yeah, most definitely. I think so too.
But like you say, you get in these schools, and like Alabama State and Jackson State has brought in new blood. So you get, I mean, it's gonna take Robinson a little bit longer. Robinson is a new head coach, period. You know, he's a new coach, period. But you got Prime, he's a new coach on it in the SWAC, but of course he's doing it another way. But these schools are having a lot of success with new blood.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I mean,
You're right. Hey, CT, not to cut you off, but you're right. Because, again, even the level of football that Benedict's playing, like the offense is completely different from what James Woody would have brought. Mike White, when he came from Albany State, all he did was bring
it was all
Albany State spin and put it on Benedict. That
yeah,
old school run the ball downhill,
and play good
that's all he did.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna get our players gonna be bigger than yours. We're gonna try to get big players,
right,
and yeah,
that's
but
all he
Hey
did.
y'all, I want to give Coach Harris. I see he's up here. He's one of my former church members too. So man, good to see you.
okay.
Hey, I just want to let everyone know I'm a Tuskegee native, and I want to say that the SIAC formed my opinion of HBCU, and I really think America needs to understand the SIAC because the SIAC is HBCU football. I'm a
Exactly.
Tuskegee native,
Yes.
and I think that the SIAC could really be a formidable opponent in the FCS landscape. It's really the homegrown of HBCU football, and I'm a Tuskegee native. My wife went to ACU, I mean ASU, and my son is now at Texas Southern. So I'm HBCU. I'm SWAC. So I'm telling you that it's a new landscape that we really need to embrace. But I feel like the SIAC really makes of the black culture. And I think that the black coaches, the football, we really need to step it up. And I just really love everything that's going on. And I step away.
Bless. Yeah, and is it Mr. Harris? Is that Mr.
Yes,
Harris
you
that's speaking?
you
Yeah,
you
I
call me
think.
you call me money.
Okay, well, I think what you're hoping to happen. I think it's gonna happen, real fast, especially with the way the transfer portal is working and everything. A lot of these kids that's signing to these Power Five schools as preferred walk-ons and these 3 stars that's not really playing. I really think the way Prime is moving to HBCU is not only it's gonna be a domino effect. I think players from the FCS, HBCU that's not playing or this D1 player come get his spot in the spring that they're gonna come down to the SIAC. So I think in about the next 5 years, I think it's the playing level gonna be real even. When you talk about now, maybe Jackson State, if Prime stays at Jackson State, which I don't think he will stay there 5 years from now, but if he's there 5 years from now, it'll be Jackson State, but it'll be everybody else.
He'll be there till his sons graduate. Then they out.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I agree.
Unless, like you say, I'm hearing with him with Auburn calling his name, like so we'll
I
see.
just hope Barry at Benedict till his son graduate college.
Woo. How old is his son? How old is his son?
He in high school. I don't know what grade, but I know
Wait,
he's in high
I'm about to
school.
see a
Man, he in the
freshman.
9th grade. I
Oh
think.
man, you got that man stay for 15 years.
Oh man,
Hey, and Coach Barry, my fraternity brother, man.
yeah,
Honestly,
real tough
Barry,
bros, man.
them guys look out for me. Whenever I come to the game, man, they make sure I get in. They make sure I'm able to get on the sideline, and talk with the players and stuff like that, man. So, I'm and I got a lot of respect for him, man. I really
Yeah,
do
he
hope.
let bros on the field now.
Yes, he definitely do. I hope that he allows. I hope that he allows. You know, not allow. I'm losing my train of thought. I hope that he stays at Benedict and just build this powerhouse to change the whole SIAC.
Can we pay him?
Hey, listen.
Cause he don't have no
Hey,
time.
oh,
No
CT.
time. He don't
Hey,
have no
now
time.
look, the Alumni Association did help change the locker room.
We did.
We did. Yeah, we
Yes,
keep spending money now. What you mean?
But the thing
Hey,
is, a head coach is only as good as his assistants, bro.
you
All
right.
right.
You right.
So can we pay? Because we all know the head coaches at SIAC schools, they're gonna get paid. They're getting paid decent enough. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Tell you
your
what, CT, hold me to this. Now, next homecoming next year, I'm gonna have me a bucket in my hand. We're gonna do it like the old school churches. Peace
Lord.
offering. I need
Oh
your
nah.
money. We coming. Hey, listen, this for the coach, man. This that bonus we talking about. I need that.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
bucket.
Peace offering. Hey, this coach bonus right here.
Cause
Yeah.
it's not his bonus. Not
That's
his
the
bonus.
but that's what it's gonna take, bro. Because man, I be in these meetings, man. That's the one thing, bro. After a while, man, as a grown man, you got to be able to provide for your family. You got to milk that cow while you hot. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he don't have much ties to Benedict. You know what I'm saying? So that's another factor. You know what I'm saying? Like versus if Barry was from Columbia, South Carolina, even if he didn't go to Benedict, but he's from Columbia, and XYZ, then it's like, oh man, yeah, we got him. He locked in, like he's doing it out of the love. But man, once the FCS schools come calling, bro, like he's got Benedict undefeated, bro. That's never happened.
I definitely hope that
Although
Now, if he
me and
was at
you both
Savannah
know,
State, hey,
me,
if he
me
was
and
at
you both
Savannah
know,
State, it might be a
Benedict.
different conversation, huh,
You're
CT?
right. Benedict is a gold mine, though. Think about it, bro. It's in Columbia, South Carolina. Ain't too many HBCUs in D2 in a major city. Most of the D2 schools are in a small rural town. So
Why
it's
not Benedict though? CT, think about it. You in a college town.
that's what I'm saying. So the
Why
thing
not
is,
Benedict?
why not Benedict? You're right. He's got it. He's got it going to another level. But this is the thing. Are we gonna be able to pay him to keep him and his staff or some of his staff members there, bro?
So
Yeah, hey,
it's like
It ain't fair.
I really hope that he sticks around at least for another year because he won't get that ring this year. But look, we are pushing up on the
D2.
on the 2 hours, and I want
Uh-oh.
to hear y'all picks for this week. And we're gonna get out of here, and I ain't gonna give Benedict too much because next Sunday, it's all
It's
Benedict
on.
Fresh Talk. It's on
Oh,
next
next
week.
week's gonna be
It's
epic.
on next week.
Woo!
All right,
Woo!
so y'all tell me who y'all got. And the Kentucky State Central State game, who y'all going with?
Kentucky State.
I'm going Kentucky State.
I'm definitely going Kentucky State.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Kentucky State.
okay. I'm the only one going Central. All right. The Miles and Ski game.
Woo!
I'm
Tuskegee.
going to Tuskegee. I
I'm
don't
gonna go
think
Miles.
Miles.
I'm
I
gonna go
don't
Miles
think
coming.
Miles
Going
can
to
be able to score enough
Tuskegee.
points.
Tuskegee looking at Benedict already.
Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me. Now
Hey,
who
I'm
come?
going with Miles.
You coming to the Alumni Bowl.
I'm going with Miles. I'm gonna tell you why. Miles is gonna come out there, right? They gonna hold Tuskegee to 10. They gonna hold Tuskegee to 9 points.
No.
And then when it really
I
counts,
ain't
What?
they gonna
saying
get
No.
a
all that.
block field goal
No.
they
I
need.
ain't saying all
Miles
that.
only gonna score 12 points, like around that range. That's what the season meant.
Listen to me. Hey, they gonna hold Tuskegee to 10 points. And I hope Tuskegee player hit it so he can go back and tell his teammates, hey, look, y'all gonna
He
get held
laughing
to
too. He
9
laughing.
points. Y'all gonna get held to 9 points, and then you gonna get a block field goal for 6 for them, and they gonna take it to the crib. It ain't happening, man. It's
At
happening.
Tuskegee, it
What?
ain't happening. It ain't happening.
Are
It's
you playing
Tuskegee,
Madden? Like,
baby.
what are you
It's
doing?
Tuskegee. It ain't happening.
Are you playing Madden?
We got Clark and Morehouse. Who y'all rolling with?
I'm going Clark.
Man,
Clark.
Clark by 21.
I'm going Morehouse. I think they're gonna put it together this week and get their first win. I'm going Morehouse.
Oh, we
Clark
got one
Atlanta.
going against. Okay.
I'm going Morehouse. I think they're gonna put it together this week and they're gonna get their first win. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, all right, I got you. The Lane Savannah State game.
Savannah State, easy.
Okay.
Savannah State. I'm going Lane.
Who
Yeah,
said they
Y'all
I'm
didn't
going
see
going
what I
Lane?
Lane.
saw.
I'm going Lane.
Okay.
Y'all did not see what I saw last night, man. Savannah State winning that.
Yeah, I'm going Savannah State in that one too.
I saw the replay. I don't know how the referees said that's not a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
It was a touchdown. The referees were tripping. They missed the target they saw too.
I definitely thought that was a touchdown, man.
Crazy.
So they
Yeah.
do have instant replay in D2 now, right?
Nah.
No, they don't. But in that game, it wasn't even available. There was no camera, so you know.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay. So I thought they kept re-showing it. Like,
Nope.
okay. So gotcha.
They had a conference, like we all were hyped up, and they said nope, not a touchdown. We all were like, what? And it just went on. And I was like, what the world, you know?
So,
Yeah,
see, right there.
that
That's
was
why
crazy.
every college need to have replay, because once again, if that was a game that had indications on who represented the East or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, how can you? That's tough. But yeah, let's carry on. What we got?
You
Next up.
know what bothered me about the game, because normally whoever the first call is who they go with. So the fact that ref actually called it a touchdown and they changed it, what bothered me.
Yeah.
From it.
Oh.
Because that was one of the things I was like, wait, we don't really overturn.
See, I didn't know that. I thought it was incomplete first.
Damn,
but also the thing. But also the thing too with that is that this is why production matters at these games. Because why did the referee not have like a microphone that was connected to the PA system? Because we want to know what it was. He survived the ground because he wasn't out of bounds. People were like, he was out of bounds. No, he wasn't. So what was the call?
Wasn't out of bounds.
Like it made no sense. Like the only thing is like, did he survive the ground with the ball? And it's like he did. Like it's this crazy thing about it, you know.
Long as they
so
don't
there was a
referee
couple of
this game
games
in
this season.
South Carolina in 2 weeks. I'm good. 2 weeks in Columbia, South Carolina.
Don't even worry about it. It ain't coming down to nothing like that. So
man, it's gonna be the same referees while you
so
playing. They already booked the hotel, man. They're gonna say right
I
next to you.
sure did. Let me
South
tell you,
Carolina.
soon as we won, I went ahead and booked my room because hey, ski. I can tell you that now. We coming. We not coming for hell now. We coming for a W. But that's next week. Wait. Fort Valley.
Hey, so let me say this as a Fort Valley alum. I'm gonna pick Fort Valley because that's my school. But the decision making that I saw from Coach Gibbs this time, he has to clean that up because he should not have gone for that fourth down attempt on the first drive at all. So if it's good decision making, it's gonna be a good game, and Fort Valley wins that. It's gonna be probably the best game we've seen past few years. I think Fort Valley wins.
I'm going Fort Valley.
Hey,
I'm going Fort Valley just because I don't know.
we love to hear. We love to hear. Welcome. We love to hear. You feel me?
Because I guess I
I'm
get to Fort Valley before I
the
get to Albany State.
I'm calling the Fort Valley Albany game a toss up. That's what I'm calling it.
I like to hear that.
I'm calling it a toss up.
That's cool.
I'm going Fort Valley because they let my boy Polk County walk out the game at halftime and come back in and watch. First HBCU, baby. I know you do that, baby. Yes, sir.
Man, listen. It was a special day. It was a special day for my boy, man. Benedict won, and then he got that played in, man. And listen, it was lit.
Oh, man.
But listen, I appreciate all y'all coming out tonight, man. We're gonna do this again next Sunday. And I'm talking about it's gonna be trash talking next Sunday because I'm gonna try to get maybe
I enjoyed this.
Yeah. Yeah, too, man. This is it's growing. Just keep getting out there, getting out there to talk. And next week, it's all about Tuskegee and Benedict. And maybe the rounds, it depends on all 12 times that Tuskegee has whooped Benedict in the past and how we going to make 13 in a couple of weeks.
What have you done for me lately? Nobody care about
It's a
that.
different Benedict
It
team,
never
though.
stops.
It's a different Benedict
Tuskegee
team.
over Benedict.
It's a
I
different
didn't
Benedict
realize
team,
it
man.
Wait,
had
It's,
been
it's
what?
long.
different.
Yeah, I didn't realize it had been that long since we played Benedict.
Man, y'all play us like every 8 years.
That's wild. I think once we went to the divisional format, it broke. Have to make us. We already have like a couple of long trips on our side. That lane trip, the Kentucky State trip. So I'm saying like how that don't roll. I think Clark rolls on and off our schedule. So it makes it hard to get another East team in there. But man, I enjoy this. We got.
Hey, host, before you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yeah,
host, before you go, host. Can next week one of the topics be, man? Can we talk about? And I tweeted it in here. But HBCU playoffs versus the PWI playoffs, man. Like
That I love the HBCU playoffs idea, but I know that our HBCUs will not go for it because the white man's ice is always colder for a lot of people. Hate to say it.
I would like to hear other people, just something to talk about next week outside of Benedict beating Tuskegee.
Oh, I mean, I think that'd be a great conversation. I mean, we got the Celebration Bowl. I think we should go back to something like the Pioneer Bowl or something like that. But you have to make it.
Yeah, don't let somebody. What's the guy name? He's going ham with the HBCU matter. He's going ham about us talking about that Pioneer Bowl.
Yeah, he like
Well,
that. That's a fellow Fort Valley alum. He was at Fort Valley in the good old days of the football. He don't like it, and I feel him. He was there with it. I wasn't there with it, so
I wasn't either, man.
yeah, I mean, I think especially if your champions don't make it into the playoffs. I think that you should have your two runner-ups or your champion and a runner-up or whatever. I think you should have something like a Pioneer Bowl. The big thing is you got to get a sponsor. If you get a sponsor, like the Celebration Bowl has, everything else will take care of itself. We went. Yeah, you got to get somebody. Like we went to the Morehouse Tuskegee game. It's 35,000 people in the game, so it can be done. Yeah. We just got to find the right sponsor.
Getting a sponsor is too easy, and anybody can do it. Is Dr. Holloway for sure?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So if you can get a sponsor, I don't know how much Morehouse and Howard got paid to play in the HBCU classes in New York. But you find somewhere where you can play that's in between, and don't try to have it in the big ass. The thing is, don't try to have it in a stadium that sits 40,000.
True.
You gotta have that thing right there, Benedict. Man.
Yeah, somewhere like Benedict sits about 9,000. I have seen them host the state championships.
13,000. 13.
Okay, they hold 13, but you can pack that. You can get a CIAA school and an SIAC school, SIAC school to pack that. You know what I mean?
If you hosted the Pioneer Bowl in 2007 and 2009.
But yeah, you definitely if they can get that, then they'll take care of a lot of stuff. Get your sponsor and then go at it. Just don't try to have it in the damn Georgia Dome where it sits 80,000, make it seem like it ain't nobody there. We went to the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic. It's just too big for those two schools to be playing. They need to try to get it somewhere smaller, so you can make it like it's a lot of people there. That thing sits about 60,000.
So that game used to be a big draw. Big draw at one time. It has phased out over the years, and I think Morehouse losing the way that they've been losing, like people just have been interested in that game. Even before they moved it from Columbus to Birmingham, it had started
Mm,
on the decline. At one time, that was a night game in Columbus, and that's when I really enjoyed it. I mean, when I was younger, going there to see that game, I never forget it was the 6-3 game or the 6-0 game, and it rained the entire game, but the stands were packed the whole time. Um, it's just to me, I wanted that Tuskegee Morehouse to go campus to campus game for a second
yeah,
to build the rivalry back up.
yeah,
Um,
and it'd be a great thing if it went back campus to campus,
Yeah.
yeah,
because the schools are what, hour and a half, 2 hours away from each other.
Yep.
yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
One more.
yeah,
Hey, and one more other topic to go on next week too, man. The MEAC. Let's talk about how the MEAC is on the decline, and can some SIAC schools fill in that void for FAMU and Bethune and
No.
no, they can't feel it.
Stay where
Money,
you at. Stay where
yeah,
you at. Nope.
it's the money.
so it's more money.
Yeah,
But you have to pay money to jump up though. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
You got to pay the money to jump up, and then on top of that, your scholarships got to increase. Your facilities got to be better. Right now D2 got 36 full.
Yeah.
On FCS, you got to have 63.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess I'm looking at it from. I mean, I know everybody's stadium ain't like it, but man, I think some schools like at all Benedict States, the Fort Valleys, and Benedict, because Savannah State did it. You know what I'm saying?
And what
Yeah,
happened with Savannah State? Savannah State was
but y'all
losing.
see Savannah State back down.
And
Savannah
I'm
State
gonna
was
tell you,
losing.
Money.
Albany State finances is not in a predicament to jump up.
But y'all
I'm
just
actually
combined with
working on some of the posts about Albany State. If anything, Albany State is probably gonna jump the SIC for the GSC. If anything, that's my honest belief about them. But their finances are not where they need to
gotcha.
be. And I mean, and they've been running that for the last 3 years. So I've been really curious about how can they get that turned around. I know some people are saying Kentucky State is in financial peril too.
Yeah,
I'm actually going. I'll tweet the link out. Tuskegee is actually going through a feasibility study right now about jumping to D1.
yeah.
It's a whole website about it that they've been doing some research into it. So we'll probably be the next guys out of the conference, but I don't think we're going to the MEAC.
I would hate that. I would hate to see that, like, to
If
see y'all leave, man. I hate that.
Tuskegee leaves, they go on SWAC. There's no need to go MEAC.
So
Right.
It,
100%.
yeah, it just doesn't work. Yeah, them going MEAC just doesn't work.
who
You
coming
know,
out the SWAC if they go to the MEAC?
Oh
so
yeah,
what?
we know it's coming down from the SWAC. Mississippi Valley State University, yeah.
Cause
They need to swerve
right now,
out. Do a trade.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then
I'm
they
thinking
saying
about
they saying South Carolina State trying to figure out a way how they can come down without upsetting their alumni.
Man, I need South Carolina State in the SIAC so bad. I need them in the East,
Yeah.
man. Real talk.
yeah,
So
yeah. South Carolina State hurting right now.
yeah, the MEAC's really on borrowed time.
That's why
Really,
I thought they was gonna try to get more either some CIAA teams like Bowie State or SIAC teams or Benedict or somebody to try to jump up there.
Yeah, Bowie. If anybody could move up out of the CIAA to go to be at, it'll be V State, Virginia State. Nobody else can move.
Not Bowie.
No, Bowie can't move.
Bowie right now. They got to get back together. They got to get back together.
Yeah. Bowie can't move.
I tell you what, I'm gonna try to get Dr. Seville on,
Yeah.
and had that conversation about that SIC to MEAC move. It's just right now to be honest with you, even the move for Tuskegee to me, it's gonna have to be really calculated. I'm one of the ones that believe that we should have left when A&M left in 98, 97, 98, whenever they left. And we kind of like, twiddled our fingers a little too long, and then we had some years of up and down administration. So it's just we'll see. The finances has to be right. FCS has its own financial burden.
Yeah.
And
And
you
then
see yeah.
and then another thing about you moving up to FCS, you got to add sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to go up with just 4-man sports. You gotta have to add sports.
Hey, I'm gonna say this about
Well, see,
Benedict.
Benedict got all them sports, man.
They do, and
Our
not
track
just that,
team,
but
our track team, our
Benedict
track
is
team, they get
Benedict is subjected to actually going to the MEAC simply because the new president Benedict has, she's willing to try new things.
shout out,
She's
Benedict
not
shout
got
like the
out,
old president.
shout out to
yeah,
Benedict. The
yeah,
first HBCU with esports.
yeah. Do Benedict got soccer, men's and women's soccer and lacrosse?
They
No,
got
but
men's
hell,
soccer for sure.
shit,
Benedict got wrestling.
I don't know too many FCS got lacrosse.
You said what though?
I said I don't
Lacrosse.
know too many HBCUs that got lacrosse.
Is it any HBCU that has lacrosse? Like what?
Hamp,
I don't, I
Hampton
don't,
has lacrosse.
Okay,
Howard
that's
has
dope.
lacrosse.
Okay,
oh,
that's
that's
dope.
different.
That's dope.
That's
But
shit.
that's definitely different because that's not strictly about a black
And they,
sport. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're not even in the MEAC no more. They in the
Yeah, yeah,
American Conference or something.
Yeah, they're the white
they're
conference.
playing the CAA.
Yeah,
They're the NCAA now. Yep.
yeah. So you can't count them. I mean, historically they're a black school, but they're not in a black conference no more.
Hey,
Well,
Benedict has men volleyball.
Tell them again, bro. We got
And
men volleyball.
we
We got men's
we got it too.
volleyball, and I
Fort
like
Valley
us
got it as
over
well.
any SIAC team.
Fort Valley has men volleyball as well. I was going to just say that.
yeah,
So we got
I think every school in the country's got men's basketball. I mean, men's volleyball.
when not every
No.
school has it. Every school doesn't have it. Every school gonna have it.
Hey, if Benedict would have had it back when I was in school, I would have walked on.
Oh my God, man! No, don't start. Man, don't start, man. The libero out here, man. Go ahead, man.
So, man, I see you guys next week, man. Next Sunday. I enjoyed this. Pope, kind of glad you reposted this and got me on here, man. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I look forward to talking this trash to these Tuskegee boys
Oh yeah,
next week.
already. Hey, yeah, man, it
Well,
was
you
good
Y'all, my
being on
better
Fort
with
than
Valley
y'all,
people
all.
on
man.
here. My Fort Valley people, y'all better return the favor. I'm rooting for y'all this week. All right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. You already know. I love Benedict. I got love for
Yes,
Benedict,
sir.
and I'm proud of y'all, man. Y'all deserve this for sure.
Appreciate it.
Y'all deserve this.
Appreciate it, man. I hope the boys that's listening, man, the boys just ready to do what they got to do. We're gonna take
Oh, we
care
got it.
of that school across the street,
1-0, baby.
and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
yeah,
y'all
we're
like
going.
y'all got it. Y'all got it, man. But Allen, I got love for Allen because like they're gonna be a beast
Oh
in
yeah,
the future. It just they had tough
they're gonna be
year this
cool
year.
because once again, it's a college town. It's a college town, man.
It's gonna be competitive.
It's a college town. It's not hard to get kids to transfer from a North Carolina Central or something to come to Columbia, South Carolina, because you got how many schools there, Pope? What, 6 schools?
You
2
got
girls
5 or
schools?
6.
Yeah,
You
5 or
got the
6.
all girls college. You
Yeah.
got South Carolina. You got Allen. You got Benedict. You got
Then you got
Midland
South
Tech.
Carolina State. Then you got Columbia College.
Yeah, it's a
Midland
lot of
State.
schools.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot there, man. So shit, yeah. Allen
Hey,
going
but
it's gonna be competitive after what.
CT. Hey, everybody, hey, D2, you coming down to Columbia?
Listen, I'm gonna be there that Friday night. I'm getting there early
All
Friday,
right.
and yeah.
I'll be
So
there Saturday.
I'll
okay,
be there Saturday for sure. Hey,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we flick it up, man.
We
I
will.
bet.
The
We
space
definitely
go.
need to.
Hey,
I most there.
this space is finna get big, man.
Yeah. Because we'll be in
Most
the
there.
playoffs then. And I have a game that Friday, but that Saturday, I'm gonna be heading to Columbia Saturday morning.
All right, bet that up,
All
bet
right.
that up. So we'll see y'all next Sunday. Facts, you had something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to salute you, D2, man. As a Tuskegee graduate and a Tuskegee old head football player, when we really was running shit and beating up on Alabama State and everybody in the SWAC as well. So salute you, brother, and keep doing your thing.
And I just want to say, Mr. Fats, I went to Alabama State too before I transferred to Benedict, and I don't think y'all beat us in the Turkey Bowl that year.
Last time I checked on my 4-peak ring, we did. So I don't know. I don't know what you talking about.
That's the year. The year y'all beat us was the year we went to
just
the SWAC.
telling about the hardware I got. I can't speak on nobody else or what they did, but we ain't lose a lot when I played. Like we didn't lose over 5 games when I played. So I don't know about that. I think we were like 42-5, something like that.
What year you came out?
I ain't come out at all, man.
I mean, well, what years you played? What years you played?
I ain't come out at all.
I ain't come out at all, man.
What years you played
though? What years I played? I played 09 was my freshman year.
Okay. So yeah, we now y'all.
Okay. So you were doing that time with Atkinson, yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah. No, one of them boys whooping us, and then we would have had a 28-game winning streak if it wasn't for State still in that game, in that game that year. Stole
Trust
it, man.
That
was back then. Hey, look, facts. Make sure you come down to Columbia, South Carolina,
please.
And I'm gonna tell you like this: get your popcorn ready,
please.
Hey, it sounds good. I love when we had these talks because folks like, I'm like, I ain't never lose no games really when I played, so I can't speak on nobody else.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this: I did lose when I was at BC. But I'm gonna say this though. We win it this year. I'm getting me a ring.
I heard that.
But y'all hilarious, bro.
Yeah. But nah, man, it's good camaraderie, man. And I'll tell people, man, Tuskegee was one of the best things that happened to me football wise. Like we still had, Albany State, you had good competition. I think we really get slept on in that conference because we would really beat up on some of these SWAC schools, MEAC schools, like for real. And I don't know why they think we can't, but that ain't never been the case from when I played. So I don't know. That's just me. And it's always gonna be Tuskegee over everybody. It just is what it is.
That's real. But next
week,
and
we got another Tuskegee legend.
Gonna be over here by the Benedict.
Well, we gonna see. We got to get through next because we owe Miles. Like I'm all for, but we owe Miles. After we get finished with Miles, our attention is turning up the road, dog. We coming to Columbia, man. We coming. Don't worry.
Say less.
I don't want to say.
I got a little sister at Tuskegee, man, cheerleader, so I'm gonna have to hear that talk in a little bit anyway.
Yeah, my little cousin, she cheerleader at Tuskegee.
See, look at that. See, y'all, they made some good choices. Just look, Tuskegee, we got a cabinet and it's full of hardware, so we just gonna add another to the collection. So it ain't nothing personal, my guy. Just add another.
We about to start building this thing this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Y'all had to start somewhere, baby. Got to start somewhere, baby.
Hey, that's a fact. Don't go to IKEA and get nothing cheap though. Get you a good nice trophy cabinet.
Hey, when we do it, we're gonna do it big. Now we ain't never done it before, so we gotta do it big. We gotta do it big. We win that SIAC, man. They're gonna leave the lights on in the stadium to the next.
Oh no! Just run up the bill.
No, to next the following Saturday.
Yes, sir.
But we started off the show saying that hey, it's a possibility that we can get Tuskegee versus Benedict twice this year, and so I'm rooting for that because I'm rooting for that. So let's just handle our business. I want Benedict to win this week because I want them to handle their business. I want us to have the pleasure of ending that streak. And Tuskegee need to handle their business, and just have a good competitive game in the championship game and see what happens. I think both teams are worthy of making it in the playoffs, and I hopefully that whoever we get in the playoff, both of us can beat them. Kind of show the world that hey, the SIAC is strong, man, and we got quality teams, we got real quality coaches in the conference, and make some noise. So. I appreciate all y'all for stopping by. We're going to do this again next Sunday.
Yes, sir.
And y'all have a great night.
All right, fellas.
All right, D2.
All right.
All right, CT. All right, Randall. Facts. Y'all take it easy.
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the SIAC Twitter Spaces for today. Y'all heard me in there representing for Fort Valley, but a lot of great perspectives and a lot of great talk. I think that we should consider bringing the Pioneer Bowl back. I just think the concept was so amazing, especially in a culture now, an HBCU culture and sports world where you have the Celebration Bowl. I would love to see maybe ESPN, sponsors it, like how they do the Red Toast Classic with currently Fort Valley and Tuskegee. I would love just to see that because I think we see some amazing matchups across the way. And if it's not the Pioneer Bowl, maybe the Pioneer Classic, because if Fort Valley and Tuskegee are locked into the Red Tails Classic, I would love to see Albany versus Bowie, Benedict versus Union. I would love to see that. And these are things that we talk about on HBCU Pulse Radio. Our sports edition is going to be back on this week, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But outside of that, make sure to follow me on, first of all, follow HBCU Pulse first and foremost. Follow HBCU Pulse at the HBCU Pulse on Twitter and TikTok, and at HBCU Pulse on Instagram and YouTube. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast as well as Spotify and iHeartRadio to HBCU Pulse Radio. A lot of great content coming down that way. And also, one last thing, make sure to tap in with HBCU League Pass Plus. We have a streaming channel on the app. It is channel 201. A lot of amazing content. We missed the HBCU Pulse sports show on last week because I was dealing with some stuff. I was a little bit under the weather. I had to get some stuff handled. Black male health matters. You got to make sure you take care of yourself. But we're going to be back. A lot of amazing conversations about D1 football, but also we're going to talk a lot about D2. And then, of course, next week we're going to have this on HBCU Pulse's YouTube. Shout out to D2. Shout out to Coach Thomas. Shout out to everybody out here. But I'm going to go. I'm watching the Lakers game right now. And if Anthony Davis is injured, man, I'm going to feel away. But nevertheless, man, thank y'all so much for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you on the other side.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.